And legal purposes, I am recording.
Hey, everybody, I'm Pagan Tech, and we're here with another session of the Round Table of Fools. Some of us are nincompoops, some of us are idiots, and tonight we have Tommy, down in the bottom corner, that one there. Steven, we got down right below me, and Jerry Formal is right over there. Fantastic. And we plan on talking about, actually, we just are probably going to riff maybe movies and just whatever our usual ramblings are. So drop a follow for this channel and a subscribe if that function is working for you. That'll give you a chance to see when I come online and stream, as I never know when I can due to life and the fucking video card that I have that's dying. And now, the host of our show, Tommy, take it away.
Thank you very much. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Round Table of Fools, episode 4, is that right? I think 5. Episode 4? 5. Episode 5. That's right. Yeah, episode 5. See, I can't count. It's a good thing we don't have to do math on this damn show.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
As mentioned, I am Tom, and we have Pagan Tech with us tonight. We got Jerry Formal with us tonight, and we have a special guest star with us tonight, Mr. Steven Stahl of the podcast The Hold Up with Steven Stahl. Steve goes into movies and, well, basically kind of like this show, anything that comes to mind. And if the movie happens to sort of come up in the conversation, so much the better. Or at least that was my experience. But anyway, Steven, welcome in, by the way. Thanks for filling in. The Green Bear is on vacation this week. So I thought, who do I know that is savvy enough to work his computer equipment and get on here with us? And you're the first one.
Yeah. Well, now I feel bad. I didn't get out my interface and grab my nice fancy mic, and you guys are all on nice mics, and I'm just gonna be sitting here with my little gaming headset, sounding like the guy calling in onto the radio show.
Hey, you sound pretty good, actually. Pretty good.
Yeah, it does sound good. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
It's not a jank microphone.
It's funny that I'm filling in.
But so Pagan Tech has him a new to him mic that he MacGyvered together out of spare parts.
Yeah.
We'll have to go into that story in a
quite the wacky deal.
Yeah. But all right, well, let's
it keeps fading in and out of existence from where I'm looking here.
The
AI is a little bit of the AI is trying to take the background out, and it's not sure. Is this background? I don't know. I'm gonna try. No, I'm gonna try. No.
Yeah. It goes on the entire show. But and you'll see people in the background sort of fade in and fade out, and a face come in every now and then. It's hilarious, actually. All right, let's kick off the show like we always do with some plugs. So, Steven, since you are our guest, why don't you start off and plug whatever you want to, and however many plugs you want.
Awesome. Jesus. Okay. Well, I actually kind of have a lot going on. Right. Like you said, I got the podcast, The Hold Up with Steven Stahl, which I really enjoy doing, but it turns out I'm really, really bad at naming things. I decided to call the podcast The Hold Up because the point that what we do is like we watch movies that we haven't watched in at least 10 years and see how well they hold up. And so I named the podcast and I created it and I started adding it to like iTunes and Spotify and all this stuff. And I realized, oh, there are 37 other podcasts called The Hold Up already. I guess I have to fix that. So if you are interested in listening to the podcast, you have to search. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I think even Killer Mike has one called just The Hold Up. Like he won rights to just The Hold Up, so he wins that, of course. But like, so you have to look for The Hold Up with Steven Stahl, and nobody knows how to spell Steven Stahl, so I don't exactly have a listenership of millions yet. But that's a lot of fun. The other big thing I do, the thing that takes up most of my time, and at least right now, is I run a film festival called the Sick and Wrong Film Festival, which takes place here in Orlando, where I live. At least it did the first 4 years. Things been going 5 years. We're in year 6 right now. First 4 years it was live in Orlando. Last year it was online, shockingly. But it was still a lot of fun. We
everything else was.
Yeah, like everything else. It was cool because not everybody can afford to fly down to Florida for funsies. So the cool thing about doing it online was that I got to hang out with filmmakers from all over the planet, because the movies come in from all over the place. So that was a lot of fun. And if you are a filmmaker who makes weird movies, and when I say weird movies, I mean like Eraserhead and The Holy Mountain and Greasy Strangler, Pink Flamingos, Sorry to Bother You, just all these like weird, uncategorizable kind of movies. We used to call them midnight movies, I guess, back in the day.
It's not called Sick and Wrong for no reason, right?
It is not called, yeah. There's a lot of bizarre stuff happening. The submissions to that are open right now. They opened on May 1st, and they'll be going through Halloween. So if you're a filmmaker, check us out. SickandWrongFilm.com. But, and I don't mean to make the editing job difficult, but this won't be out before tomorrow night, will it?
No.
Okay.
I will edit it tomorrow. No, I'll edit it Saturday. It'll be out Sunday night.
Awesome. Then that means I can tell you guys. I guess technically I'm scooping you guys, because I haven't told the world yet. But this is exclusive. Only I'm gonna spill the beans tomorrow on Facebook.
All right, cool.
For those in the future, this has already happened.
Those in the future, I am at the time that you're. Oh fuck! I got it all wrong. Anyway, I'm making a feature film. I've put together a team of Sick and Wrong alumni filmmakers who've all had movies in the festival. I put together a team, and we are going to make a feature-length anthology called Fat Fleshy Fingers. And we are it's going to be on Kickstarter. We're trying to raise money through the month of June. That's my big plug. That's the thing I'm going to be like flogging to death for the next month and a half of my life, at least. And then, I'm really excited. I got a bunch of different filmmakers who with different voices working on this, and all the movies are going to be threaded together with a running theme. And they're just like I was so happy to get to this team. I'm being kind of coy about it, because I've got the plan to introduce all the filmmakers over the course of the campaign. So I'm being a little sketchy about naming them all just yet. But
one thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Yeah. So if you're interested, anybody who's interested in weird movies, please come check us out. It's again, all the details will be on sickandwrongfilm.com. You can find the Kickstarter link and everything, and we got fun. Hey, there's Patty. Hey, Patty.
Hey, Patty. Oh.
And her little jammies.
Yeah.
I'm in my jammies.
Yeah, she had her latest cancer treatment today, so she's taking it easy for the next couple days.
Definitely take it easy. Take it easy, Patty. You hear me? Can you hear me there? No, she can't hear me.
I got the monitors turned off. You're killing all of us.
That's right.
Well, cool. All right. So now, Stephen, do you have is your Sick and Wrong? Was it sickandwrong.com?
Sickandwrongfilm.com.
Film.com. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Is that the letter N, or is that the word and?
That is the letter N.
Okay.
N is in November. Yeah.
Sick Wrong.
I had the first time I set up a domain name for it, I picked a domain name, sick-n-wrong.com, and it turns out it's hard enough to get people to go to a web address, period. If you put punctuation in it, nobody's going to
forget it. Yeah.
Nope,
yeah.
Not happening.
That's why I shortened mine. I was going to do signal to noise radio,
Yeah.
that long, and I was like, oh, hell with it. I'll just do stnradio.com and be done with it. Yeah, it's a lot easier. And apropos of what we're talking about here, when you fire up the podcast again, sir, I want to be on it again, because I had a ball doing that with you. What was it?
Oh, yeah.
Whenever it was. Yeah, 3 or 4 months ago.
That was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
I always love doing it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially when the movie's fun to watch. Sometimes I don't know. I guess it's equally fun when the movie's fun to watch as when it's really painful to watch. That's a fun time too.
So Pagan Tech, plug away. What you got, sir? Anything new? Anything exciting?
Yeah, well, I'm still in the hunt for a video card. That is a painful thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have been dumping these videos onto twitch.tv/Pagan Tech, PAGANTEK with a K, not CHK. I'm kind of with the
like the
providers on that.
Shatner sci-fi novels.
Well, it's the providers. When I chose this back in the late 90s, MSN, Hotmail, Yahoo, all the big hot ones at the time, they hated the word tech, TECH, in any account because they didn't want you to spoof their technicians. So I chose TEK, and it was like, oh, yeah, we'll take that one. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what I'm stuck with now. Thanks.
Hey, you know what? Ironically, you were probably better at the technical stuff than they were at any given time back then. So
yeah, when DSL came into Augusta, I think it was like number 7 or number 8. I had to tell the DSL technician what to do. He couldn't get the MAC address into the system. I'm like, you got to put this information in the system. Oh, well, I'll figure it out later. So I called into the main office. I'm like, here's the information you need to put in the system.
That's funny because Patty and I, we were, I think, the 9th household in North Augusta to get cable internet, high-speed cable internet. And it was maybe a month after we got it installed, and I couldn't get anywhere on the internet. There was a DNS problem. So I called up Comcast, which is never a good idea, by the way. But anyway,
True.
I said, I told him, I was like, I'm having this problem, that problem. I think it's probably a DNS issue. And of course, they have to read from their book and they have to go through all the steps and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll jump through your hoops. Yeah. So we did all that. And I said, you know what, just escalate me up to the next level. And they did. And I said, you have a DNS issue. He's like, oh, I don't think we have a DNS issue. Let me fix that. It's like, yeah, thank you. Cripes. Anyway, so PAGANTEK
Twitch.tv/PAGANTEK.
TEK, right. Thank you. Jerry Formal, anything new and exciting to plug?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
All three of you have more content that would probably be more exciting. It's probably more exciting than what I could put out anyway. So.
Well, you know what? You're going to be graduating soon. You'll have a little bit more time on your hands.
Yeah.
You'll be able to stream occasionally, and you'll be able to plug all sorts of fun stuff, I think. So.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then if the administrator ever gets the Minecraft channel up and running,
Oh yeah, I'll be sure to plug that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, as for me, you can find me at stnradio.com, as mentioned previously. I broadcast on Tuesdays are sort of maybe not, but I broadcast on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We've got lots of specialized programs. We air this show. We've got a guy who just his first show was the other night. He does like indie artists and really obscure West Coast stuff and little avant-garde type stuff, which not all of it's my cup of tea, but it's interesting if nothing else. And he puts on a really good show though. So yeah, he puts on a good show. So that airs Wednesday after I do. Basically on Wednesdays I do a rotating sort of a theme. This past week was ballads, for example. So I did all the hair metal power ballads and all that kind of stuff. So that was fun.
Nice.
But and then Sundays, Jerry and I do The Forge, which is 2 hours of heavy metal. We always have a really good time doing that show.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. We have a riot down here. But anyway, and then I'm not going to go through the whole schedule, but you can go to stnradio.com. And the schedule is printed right there. And also I added a new banner this week for Wind Up Creation. So it's got Pagan Tech's logo on there. It's got Green Bear's logo on there. I made up a logo for Jerry. And, of course, the STN Radio logo is on there. I didn't bother to put my name on there for some stupid-ass reason. But anyway, it's got everything else on there we need. So, so we're in the early stages of creating a network, basically a media network. So, me being radio and music, Pagan Tech and Green Bear, they do their Twitch channels, do different, they both stream, but it's two different types of streams. So, we'll eventually hopefully to attract some podcasters, maybe hint hint.
my.
You know, just whoever might, you know, does creative stuff in the you know, in the online realm would be cool to fall under our umbrella. So that's you know, we're in the early stages of that.
I think Green
your
is
TikTok guru.
So I'm sorry, say again.
Who's your TikTok guru? Who's your TikTok performer? Who's got the TikTok moves among you guys? Who is it?
Nobody
Hey,
that I'm
Patty.
aware
There
of.
she comes right now.
Hang on a sec.
Patty's the TikTok, the designated TikTok performer.
Aw,
TikToker.
so sweet.
What do TikTok people call themselves? I don't know. I never. I only see TikToks when people share them into my Facebook feed because I'm a very old man and I still look at Facebook. So
Well, I'm on Facebook all the time. I use that as one of my methods for, you know, getting the word out to everybody that I know, basically.
Yeah, the only thing I do on Facebook is my photography business. Other than that, I don't even log in unless I got something to post for the photography or try to drum up some sales for photography. No.
Well, ironically, I always tag you when I do stuff, and since we're all part of the network, I tag you and I tag Green because, you know, hey, maybe this will go out to all of his friends. But if you don't have any friends on there, then
oh no, I got a ton of friends because all the people that I do photography for have chosen to be my friends. So that means that I get everybody's opinion on my feed, and I'll pass on that.
Well, Pagan Tech is an amazing photographer, by the way. I don't want to toot anybody else's horn necessarily, but he's a primo photographer. All right, so that's we've hit a black hole of conversation, so it's time for a topic.
Well, and we were talking about the content that Green and I do on Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Green is really heavy on some of the scare stuff, some of the online horror stuff, but he's pretty heavy into oh crap, what's that game that I never play ever? Warframe. That's it. He absolutely loves Warframe. 2,000, 3,000 hours just in Warframe. That's kind of like being Elite Dangerous. Oh, I'm sure. That's like being Elite Dangerous or Kerbal Space Program or, you know, Star Citizen or something like that. That's kind of my jam. That's I can get into Warframe every now and then, but it's I've never really been into the Twitch combat kind of game. I guess I don't really know what to categorize Warframe as, or really any of the first-person shooters except for Fallout. I love me some Fallout.
Wait, Fallout's a first-person shooter now?
Oh, since number 4.
Yes, well, yeah. Listen, the last Fallout I played was Fallout 2. So.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Number 3 and New Vegas were still RPG with some. It was first-person shooter, but it was RPG more in the storyline. But Fallout 4 was really. You have a very linear story, and it's your first-person shooter. And then Fallout 76 was just a dumpster fire.
It was.
That's what I've heard.
I got it before release day, and it was bad then, and they've done a lot to it since then, but it's still kind of bad, and it's just not my. I'm not a. No, that's all right, Pat. It doesn't have a good story. That's what.
Well, because there is no story.
No, it's not. It's go out in the wasteland, get a robot. Oh.
76 is like purely multiplayer. I think there's no story other than that player coming in with their high-level items and killing you for 45 times in a single session.
There's a couple of storylines. They've added a new one that delved into. I think they're working on the Enclave one right now, and they had Brotherhood of Steel for a while. But generally, you finish the story, and then I'm level 51. There's like level 300s and 400s roaming around. I'm like, what can you do for that much time to spend to get all the way up to level 400 or 300? That's boring as shit. This is a boring ass game.
Some people have just nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Place myself in a timeline of video gaming. Last night I spent a couple hours gaming, playing Wolfenstein 3D. I had to reboot the Xbox a couple of times to make it work. But
nice.
Well, yeah, that's where I am. Like Wolfenstein 3D has more I got more time in that than I have in basically any other video game.
Wow. Yeah, I'm heavy into the flight sims or the space sims or things like that. I would be more into like Microsoft Flight Simulator, but my video card has a very specific error whenever it has a lot of textures and it calls a weird specific DirectX call into the upper memory of the upper register of the memory. It has a tendency to shit the bed. It
That's
basically
the technical
does
term,
a
by the way.
timeout. Yeah, shit the bed. It does a timeout and waiting for the memory to return, and the driver thinks that it's been unplugged. So Windows crashes, the driver crashes, the game crashes. Everything is like, okay, I'm done.
Everything
It takes about 20 minutes for it to get into the game, and by that time you're like, is it going to work? I think it's going to. Fuck. Okay.
And not so
Yeah.
much. Well, and Jerry just a couple days ago just re-downloaded, or not re-downloaded, downloaded Skyrim.
Skyrim for the first time in what, 2-3 years, I think.
It's been a while, yeah.
At
We looked
least
it up.
2,
That
probably.
Yeah, that game's been out for like 10 years at this point. And he was like, can I, and can I buy Skyrim? I was like, we have Skyrim. He's like, no, you have Skyrim. I don't have it. I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, then go ahead and
Yeah,
buy
because
Skyrim.
I always played it when we game shared. Remember?
Yeah.
So
well, now I
I had-
remember. Yeah.
I had like 18 hours on the game, but that was solely from your account, I think.
Probably,
So-
yeah. That game is a lot of fun. I mean,
It is.
I'm not a huge video gamer, as everybody is probably aware. So, I mean, I'll get sucked into World of Warcraft on occasion. Minecraft will suck me in sometimes. Skyrim on occasion. But I'm not a huge video gamer, particularly now since I've got my 40-hour plus 40 hours a week at the job plus almost an hour to and from for the commute.
Oof.
So yeah. So and then I've got
You have the radio show on top of
all the
everything
radio
with it.
station stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
I don't have a ton of spare time on my hands.
that radio station is
Plus-
your video game.
Yeah. Well, give it a choice between playing music for myself or other people and playing a video game. 9 times out of 10 I'll choose playing music. So
Heck yeah.
sorry. But yeah, so I know Jerry's been on a Skyrim kick here for the last it's 4 or 5 days now.
Oh no, it's probably been only like 2 or 3, I think.
I lose track of time down here in the cave. So.
I can see
Yeah,
that.
You guys are all in the same time zone as me because I got my I guess I'm living in Florida, but my front window is sitting here with the sunlight still pouring in at 7:37, and
Well,
you guys are looking a little
Jerry,
cavey
if
where you are.
Jerry were to open his shade there, yeah,
There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm not in some
It's daylight
weird-
outside, I think.
yeah. But no, I'm in the basement, and my basement has no windows down here. So
Yeah, I'm in the cave room, and we kind of have this.
Yeah,
blocked out
the
on
studio is literally a cave down here. Yeah, it's underground, and luckily though, I've got a restroom right there, so if I need to go, I can just escape right there. Anyway,
I
No more
vaguely
using the bucket
remember
for you.
basements.
you vaguely remember what now?
Basements before moving to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Basements are not common down south anywhere.
No,
And-
no. and
It is very, very rare to not find a house. To find a house without a basement around here.
Oh, really?
Huh?
Yeah. Just every house has a basement generally. Now they may not all be finished like this basement is, with drywall up and all that stuff. But I mean,
Yeah, I don't see dirt
everybody
on the
has
floor or anything in there.
No,
right?
Man,
bug,
you got like
no mice.
walls and shit.
Walls,
Hard to meet
painted
friends, like,
sheetrock. What the hell?
Like,
posters. Yeah, got a turntable.
I would have
right
thought that it was an actual human dwelling, Tom.
No. Just, well, cool. All right. So yeah. Yeah, we don't do a lot of. Well, Jerry does all the gaming for us here. I say, and for a while there, right after we all got locked down due to COVID, I was playing Animal Crossing.
That's what
for-
Jen's
for a-
playing right
for
now.
like
For a good while.
Heavy
for a few
duty.
months, that was like all you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, that was.
You
all I
need
was
so
doing.
many gigs to
Um,
run that.
And let me tell you, Jerry and I had a time finding a second Switch. We ended up having to
Oh,
get
yeah.
the Switch Lite
Oh,
for
yeah.
him because the regular Switch was just sold out. I mean, like Walmart would get it in, boom, it was gone in like a half hour, all 6 or 8 of them or whatever they'd get in.
Well, remember when
we switched?
We got the Switch Lite at Target. Remember?
Oh,
we got it one day. That Switch case was full of them. We come back like a day or two later for something else. And that cabinet is just empty.
Yep. Yeah, it was crazy.
So I'm glad I got mine when I did.
Yeah.
But I mean, even sort of Animal Crossing has sort of fallen by the wayside. But to be honest, it fell by the wayside before I started doing this. So
yeah. I haven't used my Switch in a while to begin with, actually.
I like when Jen puts it on the big TV and I can watch KK Slider do his little concerts every night.
Well,
it's funny
because some good friends of ours live across town, and one of them has a Switch Lite. Jeffrey's got a Switch Lite, I think. But anyway,
all right,
he was always playing Animal Crossing on his Switch Lite, the little tiny screen, and I was playing it on like the 50-inch whatever TV.
yeah.
He's like, I can't even imagine how big everything is. I was like, dude, I would be blind if I tried to play on that Switch screen for too long. It would just be would be game over for my eyesight.
Jen's been. I mean, you. Speaking of that, Jen's been a big fan. Jen's my partner over there, Jennifer. She's been a big Harvest Moon geek for like ever. They've it's a series of games. She's got, I think, seriously, if you count spin-offs and like splits in the company structure that made them or whatever, she's got over 20 Harvest Moon games. She's got something like 25 Harvest Moon games or something. But there was this is a dumb story. I'm going to try to make this fast. But the original creators of this game, like the game has a huge following, and I'm talking about it as somebody who's not a member of that following. So if you have anybody listening to this who's a big Harvest Moon fan, they're screaming right now at their podcast app saying, "He's getting it all wrong, you fucking idiot." But so there was like a core creative team that made a bunch of Harvest Moon games, and then the creative team somehow or some reason left the company or was kicked out of the company or something like that, and the company kept making Harvest Moon games that all the Harvest Moon fans thought sucked. So eventually eventually the core group started making more games again that were basically Harvest Moon games, but they couldn't call them that. They called them Story of Seasons. That's not my point. Jesus, I'm swinging this back around to the Switch Lite. There was before the during the split, like there was a fan made game. There was this game called what's it called? The fan made Stardew Valley. There's this game called Stardew Valley.
Oh yeah.
I played that.
Yeah. Jerry played that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Jen got that a long time ago, and everybody who loved Harvest Moon said you will love Stardew Valley because it's got everything.
Simulator. It's really fun and calming. Yeah.
The problem was she started playing it and she just hated it because, like, the screen she was playing it on was this big, and there's like little stuff disappearing off the edges of the screen, and because it was meant for a PC, right? It's meant for a computer monitor. So I guess the Switch allowed her to play it on the big TV in the living room, and now she loves it. She's like,
the Switch dock has HDMI out, and then you could plug it into an HDMI in on your TV. So yeah. Well, actually, I think in HDMI there's really no in and out, but anyway. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna let it slide, but I didn't want
two-way communication. Yes.
People sliding into your DMs saying
modern day. Yeah. Oh, believe me. But cool. So, I haven't played.
Tom, you got it wrong. Damn it.
You suck at life.
Were you guys like computer RPG fans, like from like the Bard's Tale days, like way back when? Because you're in my age range.
Yeah, I'm older than you are, but yes, I'm relatively within your age.
I never get that. I'm always the oldest one on the podcast.
That was quite the revelation when Steven and I were doing his podcast, and I was like, yeah, I graduated in 88. He's like, what? That can't be right. I was like, oh, it's right.
When did you graduate, Steven?
I graduated in 96, which means I just did, I just did some math, and I think, Phil, Pagan Tech, we met when I moved to Augusta in like 1998.
Yeah.
That is a long time ago.
Christy and I were
Good
married.
Lord, man.
And we didn't have the kid yet, so we were just doing whatever the fuck we wanted to, really. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm having some flashbacks. Tom, thanks a lot, man, for bringing me back into a world that I thought belongs to some other dead version of me that doesn't
Yeah,
exist
well, it's funny how these things go because, I mean, quite honestly, my assumption was that you, Steven, had probably bumped into Green Bear at some point, and if he was on camera, you'd probably recognize him as well,
Yeah.
because he knows like everybody,
Yeah.
True.
And he's lived in Augusta basically his whole life. I mean, he lived up here for a while, and he lived out in California, but I mean, Augusta's been his home base.
Mhm.
So the revelation. Oh yeah, before we started recording, there was quite the revelation that Stephen and Pagan Tech had hung out previously back in apparently 1998 or something.
Yeah, it's a while back.
So that's, I mean, Augusta, let's be honest, is not a very big town.
Listen,
So that's not that surprising.
1988, 23 years ago, that was, I want you to know, that was 2 whole girlfriends back for me.
So you've had 3 girlfriends in that amount of time? Is that what you're saying?
Since then, yeah.
Seems like, where's the mute on these monitors? I don't know.
Oh, look at the time. I gotta go.
Gosh, holy cow, look at that.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's dive into a sort of a loose topic now.
We haven't been? Is that not what we've been?
Well, I mean, I'm happy to just BS for 2 hours if that's what you guys want to do. I mean, honestly,
Give us a topic.
That's what I'm good at. Well, before I do that, let me inquire about that giganto microphone that you're using now, dude. It looks like it looks like a trash can on. What? I mean, it's huge, dude.
It is kind of close to the
It's a miniature
camera.
recycling can.
Yeah. So it's a Blue Yeti.
Perspective. That's what it is.
It's a Blue Yeti, and it's part of the Yeti Cast kit.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was,
Yeti.
yeah, Green had got this Yeti Cast kit, and he put it up, and the boom arm was a little on the weak side, and when he was moving it, it snapped. And a bunch of pieces fell out, and he lost a couple of pieces, and he was just really frustrated and tired of it. So he threw it back in the box and put the box away and got a different Yeti microphone, another Blue Yeti microphone, desktop. So it's sitting there. It works beautifully. But this one had been retired, and we had gotten talking about it. I was in the process of getting ready to purchase a microphone because microphone seemed to actually work for me the other day. Sounded good. And so I was like, I'm going to spend $25 on an Amazon special microphone. He's like, man, I get this microphone here. I tell you what, if you can fix this, you can have it. I said, you know what? I've gotten so much stuff out of you fix it, you can have it, because I can fix just about anything. So now it's held together with a wing nut, JB Weld. Part of actually it's a magic eraser. This part that's missing right here. That's what I cut off. That's actually keeping it from moving around and rotating. Let's see. A bottle cap. This was the original bottle cap that I used. You can see the hole that's been punched into it.
That was just a prototype.
I needed it. Yeah, it was a prototype. So I got a better one. It's more centered. The hole is more centered now, and that's what's actually holding it to the desk. So, but microphone.
Now, Stephen, when we were discussing this earlier today on Discord, I thought he was just messing with me. He was, listing had a MacGyver list that he was, but no, he actually used all those things to fix that microphone.
Yeah.
So, good on you, because anyway, I would just
JB Weld.
There's your
right
JB Weld.
there.
Yep, there
Right.
you go. Yeah. Well, all right.
And I showed you the magic eraser and the bottle cap.
Yeah.
I had a package of wing nuts still sitting around. No, that's something else.
Oh, yep.
But yeah,
So what I'm seeing from this is you need to clean off your desk, mister. That's what it sounds
you
like
don't
to me.
even want to see the camera on my desk.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's talk movies then. So Steven's a movie guy. Everybody likes movies. Movies are a big part of pop culture these days. I mean, I think they always have been to a point, but particularly like, let's say the Marvel movies, all the superhero movies, they're all like big events these days, generally, So we can talk favorite movies. We could talk least favorite movies. We can talk about the weirdest movie you've ever seen. Whatever you want to do. Steven, you look like you had something to say there.
No, I gotta. I have a strong opinion on the topic of favorite movies. Not necessarily what my favorite movie is. I just feel like it's a character failing to if you can't answer the question, "What's your favorite movie?" But so like overwhelmingly, whenever I ask people this question, "What's your favorite movie?" I try to stipulate. Listen, I understand. It might change, or it might be your favorite movie this second, or it might be whatever. But still, just 9 out of 10 people when they get that question, they start waffling. It's like, oh, it's too hard a question. Do you got to narrow it down or what? And no, I personally find it a failure in your character if you cannot at any moment name whatever your favorite movie or song or whatever is at that moment. Maybe it'll be different in 5 minutes, but there should be something at that moment. And
my favorite movie will never change.
And what is that?
UHF.
Yes, Weird Al.
They just so some friends of ours do a weekly online watch party since the pandemic started, and I sort of checked out because I can't stand watching movies with them. But Jen was watching watching the movie with them a couple nights ago, and they were watching UHF. And so now I have now I have to disclose that I have never actually seen the movie.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, dude, you should watch UHF at some point. Not necessarily with a group, particularly with group people you don't like to hang out with. But anyway, you should watch UHF because it is a hilarious movie. I haven't actually watched it in years. Maybe that'd be a good one for the holdup because I haven't seen it, and I don't even think I'd have to stream it because I don't even own it on DVD. I don't think I'd have to look. I've got the soundtrack on tape. I've got it on cassette. But I don't think I actually own the movie. Interesting. All right. So do you consider like this trilogy of movies, is that like acceptable? Like I think my current favorite, like I love all the Lord of the Rings movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like beginning to end, front to back, those movies are just some of my all-time favorite flicks. And anybody that knows me knows that I love the swords and sorcery, fantasy, high fantasy, whatever. I love all that stuff. But now out of those 3 movies, the third one, Return of the King, is probably probably my favorite out of those 3. But as a whole, that movie trilogy is probably 3 of my favorite movies. And like I said, out of the 3, Return of the King is probably just because it's just so epic in scope. And I mean, and all 3 of them are just really well made. But
well, that's a respectable answer. It's important to have an answer, I think. I think like if I'm judging you as a person, I'm more likely to judge you based on whether you have the answer than what your answer actually is.
Yeah, I can see that, I guess. And, it's just like me. It's just like you can judge a person's character to a large extent by the music that they listen to. Here's a good story. So I was, I work at this facility that I work at. It's just out in the boonies. And me and one of the guys I work with where did we go? We had to go to our other facility, which is on the other side of town, to do something the other day. And he was like, I'll drive. I was like, okay, fine. And he's playing country music in his car. He's like, well, if you don't like country music, I can change it. I was like, well, it's your car. I'm trying to be polite.
You are the driver.
So, I can tune it out. I'm fine ignoring it, And so my other coworker, she and I went to pick up lunch day before yesterday. She had country music on in her car too. I'm like,
God.
What is going on here?
You thought you left Georgia, right?
Oh my God, dude. Oh, it's killing me.
I don't want to meet your coworkers, man.
I mean, they're super cool otherwise, but just a bad. Well, the lady, her name is Amanda. She, I think, just has it on in the background. I don't think she pays a lot because I've heard her music that she listens to while she's at her desk, and it's pop or punk or metal or something, So why she has country on in the car is a complete dichotomy to me.
Is it like modern country where it's commercial country?
Fuck, I don't know, dude. I can't stand any of it.
I don't like it either.
Let me amend that. Like really, like original country, like Hank Williams, not Junior.
There you go.
Hank Williams. I enjoy to a
Yeah.
point, like some like Willie Nelson, back in his day, Johnny
Yeah,
Cash.
yeah.
Some of that I'm good with. I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan. I'm not going to say I'm, like a connoisseur of that type music. But I enjoy it to a point, and I've got several records in the other room, so
I can
but
throw
no,
down
all
on
that
some
modern
bluegrass. I dig some
Nashville.
bluegrass.
Oh no! See, I love bluegrass. Yeah, and bluegrass is derived directly from the Celts. When the Scotch and the Irish moved across the sea, they took their obviously they took their traditions and brought their music with them. And you can play some reels and jigs from a traditional like Irish or a Scottish tune, and play it side by side with a good bluegrass tune, and they're almost indistinguishable in a lot of cases.
Right.
I mean, it's So that's probably why I like bluegrass so much, is because it's essentially
Same.
modern Celtic music. But yeah. So Jerry, expound upon us your favorite movie or movies.
Is the waffling coming? Don't waffle.
I'm between Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, honestly. Because, I mean, I like all of them, but I can't pinpoint one movie exactly.
If you had a pile and you had one to choose from to sit down and stick in the DVD player, just one, what would your go-to right now be?
Just one.
Just one.
Phantom Menace.
Did you say Phantom Menace?
Yes, I did. Fight me.
No, I'm not. No, I don't like my chances. No, no, I'm just fascinated because, like, I don't talk to young people. I have no ever. There's no.
Well, but that is his era of Star Wars, though.
Right.
That's the Star Wars when he was growing up, just like the Star Wars Empire and Jedi when I was growing up. Those were, that was my era of Star Wars. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's just fascinating to me because, so Phantom Menace was 99, is that right?
Yeah.
So when I saw Phantom Menace in the theater, well, I guess I'd have to bump to the next one. What was the second one in the prequel trilogy?
Phantom Menace. The third one was
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
So when I saw Phantom Menace in '99, there had been so many years since between Star Wars movies that I went in really, really primed to love it, right? So I didn't realize, and I'm not, I swear this is not well, I'm not picking a fight. Like, taste, is such a subjective thing. I would never begrudge anybody their preferences, but I was so pumped up wanting to love it that it took me until I saw the second movie to realize that I hated the first one, So, but it's fine. Like, I don't, like, everybody, I don't know. I'm not the arbiter of good taste. I would never tell somebody that their favorite movie is wrong or something like that. But it's just fascinating to me because I have been surrounded, the people my age group, when the prequel trilogy came out, we were all sort of like frothing, rabidly, violently opposed to these things after they hit, and then Star Wars kind of simmered down and disappeared for a while, and then it came back, and it came back into everybody's consciousness, in the popular culture, and that's when we found out, holy shit, kids who weren't alive in 1977, they enjoyed the hell out of Phantom Menace. Right. And at that point, if you're my age and you're learning that fact, you're at a crossroads, right? You could veer off this way and think, oh, well, kids are stupid and they love trash and they don't understand anything. Or you could think, you know what? There's no fucking true right answers to any of this shit. If you like a thing, you like a thing. That's the end of the story, right?
Yeah.
But I also really enjoy Revenge of the Sith as well.
I was about to say that too. I really enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
A lot of good memes coming out of that one.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I think Revenge of the Sith is actually my favorite because, between the memes and watching and watching Anakin essentially just fall to the dark side, like right then and there, is fantastic.
I'm fascinated. Speaking of memes, I'm fascinated. I don't understand any of them. I'm too old. But, like, there's a whole series of, like, Revenge of the Sith bread memes. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Where, like,
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like Obi-Wan and Anakin are in the bag fight scene, but they replace all the dialogue with, instead of all the stuff about dark side, light side, whatever, it's all about like focaccia versus ciabatta, and I don't get it. I don't get it in the slightest, but it is certainly fun to look at.
I mean, that's really the goal of the meme, is just to make you laugh, and if it sticks in your brain enough and you pass it on, then that's really a meme.
I can barely even take those 3 movies seriously anymore because of the memes. Because instead of actually watching the scene and thinking of context and everything, it's, oh, there's a funny meme I saw 2 days ago. You know,
you were the chosen one, Bananakin.
Exactly right.
Bananakin, yeah.
I saw one the other day. It was Anakin looking all dark and broody. It had to have been from the 3rd movie, and the caption was something about, you can only be called Annie so many times before you snap.
Understandable. Yeah.
And now here's something that I run into, because again, the first 3 movies that came out, not the first ones in the whatever the 9-part trilogy is, but what it's called, but
Skywalker Saga, I think, something like that.
Yeah, the whole thing's called the Skywalker Saga, right? So I always refer to them as Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So when when Star Wars comes up in conversation, as it inevitably does, I always go, oh, blah, 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 Star Wars. And they're like, which one? I'm like, shut up. There's Star Wars, there's The Empire Strikes Back, and there's Return of the Jedi. Oh, you mean episode 4? No, I mean Star Wars, because when I watched it was called Star Wars, damn it. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to, be shaking my fist at a cloud out in front of my front yard, but,
we used to put an onion in our belt.
So, Pagan Tech, what say you about movies? Which is your favorite? Did you already tell us? I've forgotten.
UHF.
UHF is my go-to movie.
UHF,
if I'm ready to sit down and watch a movie, I pop UHF and just be happy as a clam. Now,
awesome.
I do have a pile of movies that, I kind of lump my favorite into a different category, which is, I have movies that are really good that I won't mind watching again and again and again. UHF is my all-time favorite movie. Just period. UHF? Yeah, good. Let's play it. Mm-hmm. But if I'm wanting to watch something that makes me think a little, maybe I'll pop in Amadeus. Because I enjoy the music, and it's the storyline is really nice, and it just depends on what my mood is what I'm okay with watching. I'm always okay with UHF. Yeah. But hell, I might be ready for Half Baked.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
You just said something. I give this little example to people all the time. I say, like, if you were to ask me what I thought the best movie I had ever seen was, right? Like the best movie in my canon or whatever, I would probably say 2001. But if you were to ask me, what do you want to watch right this minute? It'd be fucking RoboCop. It's just it's always RoboCop.
Yeah.
2001 is great, but it's a 3-hour like psychedelic philosophy delve, and like you got to be in a certain headspace. You can't just. It's not.
You got to be in a certain state of mind.
Dinner or something.
I am never gonna say.
RoboCop.
Yeah, I'm never gonna say UHF is the best movie I've ever watched. Never. It's not the best movie I've ever watched. It's my favorite movie, but it's not the best movie I've ever watched. So I'm with you on that.
Man, I love. Now I want to watch RoboCop. I'm gonna leave you guys and go pop.
Like, I gotta go. RoboCop.
Gotta go. It's RoboCop time.
I was looking at the clock,
I'll buy that for $1.
What's the actor's name there?
Oh, I don't know. You talking about the
Red
I'd buy that for $1 guy?
Yeah, Red. He played Red Foreman in that 70s.
Yeah, Red Foreman.
Yeah, you're talking about
yeah.
Oh my God, I would. Kurtwood Smith.
Yeah. Kurtwood Smith. Yeah.
Then,
I like that dude. He's
Weller,
always, whatever he's in, he's always been great. Yeah. All right, so let's do the reverse then. What is, in your opinion, the worst movie you've ever seen? And I know that we've all probably seen our fair share of shitty movies. But we'll start
I feel
with.
like you got to kind of put a certain kind of not floor exactly, but like for instance, I've seen movies that people shot over the weekends one year in the 80s on their VHS cameras, and they're not great movies, but it seems weird to pick on them. When, like, I've heard this question before, and I think it's a good question, but I feel like you kind of have to limit it to give it a little caveat. Like, make sure you're punching up, like, movies that went to theaters, for instance.
Like a wide release movie, the worst wide release movie you've ever seen.
Something like that, or something where it was like serious, like studios spent money on it or something like that.
For me, I would have to say Very Bad Things. I fucking hated that movie. Jesus Christ, that was a shit show. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I'm like, why am I even watching this? Well, I did spend money on it. I would rent it, so I guess I have to finish it. And it's like, I got 3/4 of the way through. I don't even want to watch any more of this. This is just horrible. Yeah, is that what you're looking for as far as bad movie? It was the worst movie I've ever seen? Yeah.
I am so with you. I bought that movie on VHS tape for a couple of bucks because everybody had said it was so good, and I popped it in. And this is 20 years ago at least, and I popped it in, and I'm like, everything that happens in this movie happens because people keep making dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber decisions, like, constantly, and I don't know, it just wasn't for me.
Why did you have that hooker in the shower where there's a fucking towel hook in it? What?
Right, yeah.
I may have to watch this movie now. I'm intrigued, I have to say.
It's very bad. Very bad.
So
very bad things for very bad things. It's not a cop-out. I just can't remember the name of the flick. There was so it had Al Pacino and
De Niro?
Yes, it had those two in it.
It wasn't Heat, though. It was...
No.
I know what you're talking about. It was... They're like two old cops. Oh, fuck, I know what you're talking about. I never saw it, but I read a lot about this movie.
Me and my girlfriend at the time went to the movies to see this when it came out, or when it was out, I guess I should say. Mm-hmm. And we literally, it's like, I paid money, I'm gonna sit. No, we couldn't stick it out. We both were like, I'm gonna kill myself if I have to watch this movie anymore. So we got up and left like midway through the movie. Yeah, I don't remember that. I should have looked it up beforehand. It didn't even occur to me, but I don't remember what the name of it was. But we just couldn't take it anymore. There was no action going on. Despite the fact that those are two amazing actors, the acting didn't strike us as being particularly good, or maybe they were all on cocaine at the moment. I don't know, but I just remember going, I can't take this anymore. And she's like, yeah, I can't either. So we just got up and left. So, and I'll be perfectly honest, and I've told Pagan Tech and everybody this before. I've probably told you this, Stephen, too. I'm easily amused when it comes to movies. If I'm entertained. I mean, okay, well, yeah, that was cool. Wasn't an Oscar winner, but that was a fun movie, Yeah. That one we just couldn't take. We were just like, oh, nope, time to go. We could do anything else besides this and be more entertained. Jerry, do you have a worst movie?
Righteous Kill. Was that it? I'm Googling.
Maybe.
Sorry. The Righteous
Kill. Are you Googling right now while we're talking?
I did. No. That's rude. Who would do that? I was Googling my memory, Tom.
No, we do it all the time. It's particularly when you ask a question, somebody's going, is that your monitor over there? What? No, I don't know.
What?
No.
Clickety.
Yeah, exactly. Jerry?
I don't think I can really think of anything.
Nothing comes to mind immediately?
Not really. I mean, I didn't particularly enjoy Suicide Squad because of how they portrayed the Joker, but that's really my only complaint about it.
You might just not be as filled with bitterness as hate as I am. So, like, you might not have. Yeah.
I haven't seen the grand variety of movies that you three have either.
Well, this is also true. This is also true. We are a tad bit younger than you, generally. Or you're older, rather. Older than you. See, that shows you how old I am. I think I'm younger than my son.
Time's a flat circle. Who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
The kids tell me I'm 49 going on 13, so.
Pull my finger. Anyway. Yeah. Well, cool. I was relatively entertained by the Suicide Squad. So, but yeah, I wasn't. I'm not a big. Who played Joker in that? Is that Jared Leto?
Jared Leto, yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of hot and cold on him, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, I was, you know, yeah, it wasn't my favorite Joker. Let's put it that way.
Who's the guy that portrayed the Joker in the latest Joker movie?
Joaquin
And then
Phoenix.
that Joker movie, Joaquin
Heath
Phoenix.
Ledger?
Yeah.
No, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin
Oh,
Phoenix.
that was
I personally
good. Jesus
enjoyed him.
Christ.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a really fun movie.
Yeah, Steven, did you see Joker?
I did. I took my niece and her. I guess he's her husband now, but we went and saw that. I'm afraid to say it. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie, but I don't like the guy who made it is a fucking asshole. Like Todd Phillips just sucks. He's just a bad person. But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is incredible. Like he could,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, he could sing "I'm a Little Teapot," and I'm sure it'd be riveting. He did a movie. If you're interested, if you like Joaquin Phoenix, I don't know if everybody knows this one. He did a movie called "You Were Never Really Here," directed by Lynn Ramsey.
I
It's
read something about it. Yeah.
haunting. It is fucking incredible. It is one of those movies. I don't know. I don't want to spoil too. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's like one of the hard things to describe about it is that it is a movie that is very brutal and full of violence, and yet it's never really there visually. Is that? I don't know. There's no way. It's it's hard to articulate it. Like it is a very brutal movie, and he does an incredible job, of course. But yeah, I recommend. Like that was my favorite movie I saw that year, and probably the next 2 years afterward that it came out.
Wow.
What's it called again?
You Were Never Really Here.
You Were Never Really Here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's grim.
read something
Warning.
online about it, and yeah, it's one of those things where I should probably watch that, and then I forget to write it down, and then it's lost into the mists of my brain, and
Yeah.
then somebody brings it up years later. I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably watch that, and then I'll forget again. Oh man, well, cool. So,
I got
are
some-
there any?
I got some
No, go
hated
ahead.
ones.
Yeah.
Oh, if it, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
no,
I'm gonna,
I mean-
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna break my own rule a little bit and say,
All right.
I'll give you two answers. The first one is there's this movie called Brown Bunny, directed by a guy named Vincent Gallo, and I know I'm kind of violating my rules. It only went out to like these indie art theaters. I saw it at UC Irvine when I was out in California, and it is the most self-indulgent, bloated, amateur piece of shit from an established filmmaker that I've ever seen in my life. And if I ever saw Vincent Gallo in person, I'd probably punch him in the dick for making this fucking movie. But
You'd have to yell "Brown Bunny" as you punched him in the dick.
right,
though, right?
exactly. Otherwise, you wouldn't
So,
know.
so he's aware
This is
of
for
why he's
Brown
getting
Bunny.
punched in the dick.
But I guess the worst, the worst. I wanted to walk out watching a movie called. Now this is a deep pull. I guess this is like early 2000s. It would have been before 2001. A movie called The Watcher with like James Spader and Keanu Reeves. Did you guys see that? That's a million years ago now.
No, I have not seen that.
I went to see that with my girlfriend at the time and her aunt, and they just loved Spader and, well, Keanu Reeves, of course, and so they were focused on this movie, and I got bored to tears and was just like drumming on my knees and tapping on the floor, and they're like shushing me because I was being really obnoxious about it. And then much later, I found out that Keanu Reeves was doing the movie as a favor for the filmmaker, and he originally signed on to have a very, very tiny part. But then after he signed on, the filmmaker rewrote the part so that he's the main villain and he spends half the movie on screen, and Keanu Reeves was just kind of pissed off about it and sort of phoning it in the whole time. And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. It was a garbage movie.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not the movie I hated the most that fits
wait a
this
minute.
film.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm afraid to say this.
Yeah, say
Iron
it.
Man 2.
Iron Man
Okay.
2. Really?
Iron Man 2. So you were talking earlier about the MCU, and pop culture movies being like, we felt like the MCU is this juggernaut in the pop culture, and we should kind of be aware of it just so we can participate in conversations and stuff, even though we'd seen a couple of the movies. So we decided, you guys know the chronology where somebody like wrote out all the movies that were in order in the universe, like in universe, the order of them all.
Yeah, I've seen like a chart or something online somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the first Captain America since it's back in the 40s, you know.
Yeah.
So we started going through those movies, and there's like 27 of these fucking things. But we got up to Iron Man 2, and I said I can't do this anymore. Iron Man 2 was probably the stupidest thing I'd ever seen.
Really?
I was just
Now,
flabbergasted.
Let me refresh my own memory here. Is that the one with
Mickey Rourke is the
Mickey Rourke with the
Right.
whip guy and
Sam Rockwell as
yeah.
it's
It was pretty weak.
It was over long and bloated, of course, but you kind of expect. Well, I'm sorry, I'm being snippy. I'm being catty about MCU movies. But the thing that bothered me the most about it was that it was so boring. There's like huge 45-minute stretches of just no action or anything, and that's what the movies do good. That's what the MCU does good. It's like throw some fucking fight scenes or something in there. I don't need to see, Tony Stark driving up and down PCH pining over the life he used to live or whatever. I don't care about that. I just want to see machines and guys in robot suits
talking
punching
about
each
your
other.
parents. Shit.
Seriously. And then he invents, oh my God, he invents a new element in his garage with some PVC. I was like, I can't. My brain is melting. I'm getting dumber watching this. Yeah, it was tough, and so I haven't gone back to Marvel since. I guess we did watch Black Panther, which I really liked, but I was really disappointed with the CG. It was great, the story's great, the acting's great, the CG was just so weak. That big cartoon rhino comes, such a letdown. But
we actually 2 or 3 episodes ago we were talking about, and then we could talk about it again. Movies, practical effects versus CGI. And this is on my list of favorite movies probably of all time, is Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Because and again, we talked about it previously, but it's like 98% practical effects, and the only CG they used is basically to CG some mountains in the background, and some when they're in that swamp where the people are walking on stilts through the muck and all that stuff. A lot of that was CG, but I mean all the car chases and the explosions and the guys jumping back and forth and the fireworks, that's all practical effects. I just love that.
Was real.
No,
that's the thing.
Love that.
The CG can be so, I know I sound like one of these old snobby, The Thing was the last good horror movie. I'm not one of those guys, I think CGI is a tool. I think the biggest, people try to make it be the thing that's happening on screen, right? You have all these actors running around, and then you have this CGI monster sitting in the middle. I mean, it's created from whole cloth out of CGI, and it looks like shit. It just looks like shit.
They use CGI as a crutch for the movie.
Right. It should be, when you use it, for instance, one of the things that blew my mind was that there is a ton of CGI in David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And it's you wouldn't realize it, and I looked at some behind the scenes stuff and figured out one of the things they were doing. One of the scenes that has some of the most intense realistic CGI is where Daniel Craig's face is all covered in blood, and Rooney Mara's washing him in the tub to clean it off, right? And all of the blood is CG. There's not a single drop of stage blood in that scene, and I found that out, and my jaw dropped. I was like, that's crazy, because it looks so realistic, first of all, because he can afford it. It's fucking David Fincher. He can put $3 million on faking some blood for a scene or something like that. But more importantly, it's not the central thing happening on screen. It's an accentuating detail, and that's what you use your CGI for, man.
Well, now my question is, why would he use CGI for that as opposed to just using stage blood? Because
now, okay. This is a hot topic among me and my filmmaker friends, because is it, I don't know, you can decide for yourself whether this is a good thing or not, but the reason is that the dude does 50 or 100 takes of every shot, and if they are constantly cleaning Daniel Craig up and reapplying blood and Right. You're talking about this one scene taking.
I mean, okay, that I can see, I guess. Yeah, I can understand that, I guess. Yeah, you wouldn't want to have to. Okay, cut. Clean him off again. Squirt some more blood on him. Action. Wash it off. Cut. Let's do it again. Daniel Craig's like, just kill me, just
Just
kill
kill
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, I suppose. Well, I mean, and usually, and I say usually, the part of my problem is I'll get sucked into a movie and I'll watch the whole movie and then somebody will go, "Oh man, did you see that CGI such and so? It was terrible." I'm like, "Well, I remember seeing that in there, but I don't remember the CGI being terrible." And I think it's because I don't necessarily uh I don't I guess maybe I don't pay that close attention to that sort of stuff.
I mean,
You know, maybe I just
am.
am, you know, and good or bad. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a movie critic, so I mean, I don't. You know, people ask, you know, Siskel and Ebert, what did you think about it? It's all right. You know, I mean, that's my whole review. Thumb up. I'm good.
It was a
you know?
movie. Yeah.
There are some times where the CGI is painfully clear. Otherwise,
Well,
it's,
yeah, sometimes.
otherwise
sure,
it's
yeah.
it's really obscure, and you thought that was just another practical effect or something.
Right. Well, and again, going back to Fury Road, I mean, say, granted, it was almost all practical effects, but the CGI they did use, they almost kind of had to because you know they didn't have like the mountain vistas in the background and you know the scraggly trees with the people on the stilts going through the through the swamps or whatever. So
They could
then like
conjure a fire tornado on their own.
oh right, yeah, exactly. Oh great, cue the fire tornado, yeah. A bunch of guys with these giant fans. Whoa. Cut, that looks terrible. We'll just CGI it.
Do it again.
Yeah, I
In the cut, yeah, let's do it again.
Reset.
Get the blood out.
there's a story, and you could cut me off at any time. Like I'll talk about this shit forever. But like the original, I mentioned The Thing earlier. John Carpenter's The Thing is a real icon of practical horror effects because it was it's back in 1985, right? They weren't gonna
Like
CD a bunch of stuff. So in 2011, they did a not prequel exactly, not reboot, just a weird thing. You remember when they made a movie called The Thing back in 2011? No, nobody remembers it because it was trash.
I mean,
But
I remember it being released, but it wasn't enough for me to go watch that.
No, it's not worth remembering. It was pretty terrible. But one of the things that I found out, because like it really bothered me, because The Thing is this property that I love. I'm a sucker for, and I started looking into the making of it. And first of all, one of the executives behind the movie, like when they were having these conversations about practical, they were going to go practical. They were going to build everything. And one of the executives at one point was like, we're not trying to make it look like some 80s horror movie. And I'm thinking, then why are you doing The Thing? But besides that, this is the one that really breaks my heart. This is the part of the whole making of that movie that really breaks my heart, is that there's this company that does practical effects, and I don't remember their name. It's Amalgamated Industries or something like that. All I remember is the Amalgamated because I'm very bad at these things. But they were hired and they were really excited and they built tons of stuff. They built these monsters. There's a scene where a guy kind of like splits into two, and they were building everything, and they built this, and they asked the director, who was like a young guy, I think. They asked the director, look, we're building this scene, or we're building the monster that's going to fall apart, and we're building a suit so a performer can get in it and perform it. It's going to look really awesome, and we'll CG some touches on the edge of it or something like that. All we need to know from you, they're saying to the director, is, which side are you going to shoot from? And if you tell us that, then we know where we can put the seams and where we can put the actor in there, right? Because we can't do like a full wraparound thing on this. It's too involved. And the director was like, oh, I don't know. We're just going to figure out when we get there that day. And the makeup dude is like, I mean...
Well, that's not going to work.
That's
You're only going to be able to see this suit from one side because there's a human who's going to be operating it. And the director and the executives at that point were like, let's just CG it. It'll be fine. And then you end up with this totally forgettable piece of shit. But if you look at some of the behind the scenes stuff that Amalgamated put together, it's beautiful. Like it was a fitting tribute to that old 1985 John Carpenter movie, and this studio just kind of flushed it down the toilet because the director couldn't be arsed to figure out where he wanted to put the fucking camera. And as a guy who shoots movies and loves practical effects, that just really breaks my heart and chaps my ass at the same time.
I have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
I've never seen The Thing.
There was a time in my life when I would be like, but it's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not blocked, unfriended, canceled. You're done. That's it.
I'm sending him a virus on his computer.
No, I mean, I said I haven't watched UHF yet, and you guys are still talking to me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, Well, as I have to make a trip to that room right there, I think this would be a good place to. Yes, I think it'd be a good place to take a break. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Everybody good with the break? All right, we'll call it 10 minutes, and we'll meet back right here.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
I'm just gonna power off. My hair look. My hair good? Do I need a brush?
Perfect.
All right, perfect.
You better get your makeup person in there, sort of, a little shiny.
Shaved today. Should shave my face. I look.
Get a wig in there.
Yeah. And we're back. Thanks for joining us, and I am so stoked that you can join us. We've had a successful break, and I hope that you have as well. So let's get into this. Tommy.
Thank you very much. And thanks for everybody for hanging in there on StN Radio. Once again, we have Pagan Tech. We've got Jerry Formal. We've got Steven Stoll of the world famous The Hold Up with Steven Stoll podcast. And myself, DJ Tommy Scott, Tommy, otherwise known as Tom, on StN Radio. So what do we want to do for their second segment here, guys? Do we want to continue on the movie route? Do we want to just conversate and see what happens? Do we want to talk about Pagan Tech eating ice cream on the camera again?
That's gelato, good sir. Gelato.
Oh, sorry. Oh, gelato. It's bougie.
Yeah, that was green last time. I believe.
Actually, this is sherbet.
Sherbet. Oh, I love sherbet. Actually, yeah. Sherbet.
Well, if you guys are interested, I have a money making opportunity I'd love to tell you guys about over the course of the next 2.5 hours. If you'd like to be your own boss and find financial freedom, then you should join the. I lost the bit.
About saying, is this an Amway pitch?
It'll be an Amway pitch.
Before you start, I've been trying to get a hold of you about your car's warranty.
Yeah.
I'm getting those too. Oh,
I got one of those today from a number in Georgia. I always answer the Georgia numbers because I'm like, my phone has still got a Georgia number, and I'm like, well, because just as an example, my dad passed away. His ex-wife, who was in the house that they lived in together, she passed away. So the ownership of the house is sort of up in the air. So I've gotten like 3 calls from one from Aiken County and one from like a sheriff and one from an investigator. They're like, do you own the house at blah, blah, blah? I'm like, well, no. They're like, well, you're Tom Keeling, right? I'm like, well, yes, but my dad was also Tom Keeling. It's a long story, it just, anyway. So I usually try to answer the calls from the 706 area code or the 803 for that matter. And inevitably it's, we are calling about your cars. Like, damn it. I fall for it every time.
I found a way to get off the list, though. That last time they called me and I actually answered, I said, thank goodness you've called. I've got a 1970 Volkswagen Campmobile and I've been looking for a warranty for that. They go, Sir, we don't cover that. I'm like, well, then what the hell are you calling me?
Don't speak English.
Bothering me. Yeah.
Right. Always aim to make them as uncomfortable as possible, so then they won't call you again.
This might be like a sampling error where it's just like, I wasn't paying attention before, but I feel like I have gotten a lot more of these extended warranty calls since I sold my car than I ever got while I had it. I don't even have a car. They're like.
They're like, oh, let's call that guy up.
Let's call that guy.
Can't tell you the 10 or 15 messages to say, we're going to try one last time to reach you. I'm like, well, then fucking make it last time, please.
I think you're lying because I've gotten a call every day from you guys for the past month. I think you are lying to me. So, Steven, I'm curious, and this is not to not to make you plug your film festival.
Yeah, because I hate talking about my film
Yeah, I
festival.
know you do, right? But so what all is involved with the, like the creation / running of a film festival? Because it sounds like quite an endeavor, right? Because I really don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm going to answer what I know, but I need to stipulate beforehand that I don't have any idea what I'm doing. Or
okay, that's fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah,
I should give myself a little credit. I did not know what I was doing the first year I did it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a website. It's actually a weird controversy. When I started, like, I created the festival in 2015, and started taking some submissions toward the end of the year, but we didn't have the first event until 2016. So back then, there was this company called Without a Box, right? And it would it was owned by IMDb, which is owned by Amazon, and basically every big festival used it, but it cost huge amounts of money on the festival side, like and the fees were always ridiculous. And if you've ever used IMDb's website, you know that the website sucks. It's just fucking trash. I don't know if you guys are. Yeah, it's garbage to use, and Without a Box was like that. And so this other upstart company.
Well, I don't think IMDb they haven't changed their website since the 90s, have they? It's
just they just added more like pop-up video and shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate that website. So
put more ads on there.
Yeah. Such a bizarre relationship, because I hate the site, and I think it has gotten measurably worse since I first started looking at it 20 years ago. I'm talking about IMDb, and yet it's still something I probably visit every fucking day. God damn it!
The irony.
I'm a bad consumer.
But
there was this other company called Film Freeway that had popped up around the time, and they were a lot easier to use, and they were free for the festival, and it was really easy to sign up, and they publish your festival listing, and they do a bunch of shit. It doesn't matter. So I signed up with them, and I'm skimming over all the interesting shit, actually. But anyway, in 2 or 3 years after I created the festival, Without a Box just shut down, because it was an old, corrupt, dumb thing that was great for making money for a little while for Amazon, and then they just saw Film Freeway and realized the writing was on the wall. And I'm going to go off on 900 tangents. Anyway, Without a Box shut down, and then Film Freeway became basically the only game in town, which was great for a little while. And then Film Freeway has slowly started doing all the little shitty things that Without a Box used to do that we hated, because now it's the only one in town. But whatever, it's fine. It handles a lot. It's basically this is the real reason Amazon quit Without a Box, because they had a patent. And I don't know how fucking patents work, man. Patents are such a load of bullshit, because they had a patent on a single service that would handle film festival submissions. Like, that's their patent. It's like one service that would handle festival submissions.
That sounds more like IP rather than a patent.
It's baffling to me, but the patent finally ran out, and that's when Amazon quit. They shut down Without a Box. I think they probably, like, this company, Film Freeway, is based in Canada, so maybe they got a jump on things because they weren't bound by the patent laws. But Amazon always knew they were going to kill Without a Box anyway. Man, nobody cares about this bullshit. Sorry. There's a website. There's a website, and filmmakers get on it, and film festivals get on it, and the filmmakers can look at lists of festivals and say, "Oh, I want to submit to that. I want to submit to that. I want to submit to that." That handles a lot of the back end work. Like, before these sites existed, before the site existed, you'd have to, like, mail tapes or DVDs or something with checks in mail. It seems weird me even saying it out loud right now, because that's so fucking weird. Like, what? Yeah, you'd have to print out a form off the web and fill it out, and then put a check in there, and then put your tape in there, put it in a package, and mail it. And I never wanted to deal with any of that stuff, so I don't think I would have started the festival in like 1990 if I'd. Not that,
but anyway, it sounds like it would have been a big hassle.
Yeah.
what I was worried about, what I was really worried about that first year, because I really kind of thought this was going to end up being like a one-off thing, like I'd do it once and just be done with it. But what I was really worried about that year is that like I wouldn't get any submissions, right? Because it was a brand new festival,
Right,
nobody had ever heard of it. I'm not
Nobody heard
anybody
of you,
famous.
right? Yeah.
So why would anybody submit? And I think if I don't know, guess I just happened to kind of hit this. I scratched this itch that filmmakers have, because it turns out there are a lot more weirdo filmmakers out there than you realize. Like with the festival, I always have people who come and filmmakers come and they make these fucked up movies, you know, like super fucked up movies. And then I meet them and they're like, yeah, my day job, I work in Hollywood. I edit fast food commercials all day. Or, you know, I ingest footage for music videos all day, and or, you know, industrial training videos or something like that. And it's boring as hell. And as like a creative outlet, they end up making the most brain smashing movies you've ever seen, just to kind of like release some steam. And I guess they kind of latched on. And that first year, every year of the festival, I have to turn away movies I love. So much stuff comes in. It always
You've only got the room, quote unquote, for to fit so many in.
Right.
Yeah.
That first year, it was one night. And my goal was, when I started, I said I was going to have 2 programs, right? Hour and a half with an intermission in between. And then the movies started coming in, and I'm like, this is too much good stuff. I wound up, and I apologize if anybody listening to this attended the first year of Sick and Wrong. I'm very sorry to your butt, because I wound up programming 2.5 hour blocks.
Wow.
The same night with like a half hour in between.
Damn.
Because I just, you know, I had the room for this window, you know. It's like I negotiated with the venue, and by the way, I wish I could get a job doing this, because like I've negotiated with venues and vendors and providers and all that, and all it is just calling them and saying, hey, I want to do this. And maybe that's not how other festivals do it, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing the first year. So that's what I've just been doing. It's like I call up a place and say, hey, I'd like to have a festival there, and then we fight about it. But you know, I only had the room for this long, and it was just breaking my heart. I couldn't say no to all these movies. So I wound up cramming the entire program, overstuffing it hardcore. And then the next year, we got a little breathing room. I moved it to 2 nights. And then next year we went to 3 nights, and it was 3 nights, 2 years in a row. And then last year I went a little bit crazy, and I shouldn't, I don't know. It's careful, because last year we were online, right? It was a tough decision. I struggled with it for a really long time. I kept hoping COVID would just go away. But we went online, and I gave myself a little extra leeway. I'm like, okay, it's online. People are going to be watching on their own schedules. So I kind of stuffed the program with probably more of the movies that I loved than a greater percentage of the movies that I loved than I ever had in a year in the past. But what do? You just call a place. You're like, find a place where you can screen movies. It's tough. There's not a lot of independent venues here in Orlando. So I have yet to have the film in an actual theater.
Oh, right.
Like the first 2 years we were in a, and they're great people. They're really fantastic people. They were called, and the name of their business was The Venue, which is confusing when you're writing emails. But they're fantastic people, but they are a performance venue. And so their room wasn't really set up for film screenings.
They're not a movie house. Yeah.
They're not a movie house, exactly. But they're wonderful people, and I loved having them. I probably would have gone back the 3rd year, except that some weird city ordinance thing bullshit happened, and they lost their building, and it got torn down. And,
oh man.
Yeah. So the next 2 years we were at an art gallery in downtown Orlando. And that was fun. They had an upstairs room that worked out really well for us. So I don't know what I'm going to do this year. I got to figure something out this year.
So this year you're not yet sure if you're going to be doing online or in person or. So
I got a lot of ideas I'm kicking around in my head. I want to be live. I definitely want to be live. But like I said earlier, having an online component opens you up to hanging out with so many more people. You know, I had people in the like I got to chat with people from like I always have people come in from a lot of weird different places, but you just get so many more, you know. Because I do
like
the
you said, not everybody can afford to fly into Orlando
right,
for something
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you made like a short film, you got this 8-minute movie that's going to be playing in the middle of a block on, you know, at 6 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. Like it's tough to scrounge up the money to fly to Orlando,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So I want there to be an online component. I do. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm wondering whether maybe I don't know how much of this I should say. But anyway, I'm going to talk to the filmmakers, and if enough of them are willing to put their movies online at the same time that they're playing live, then I might do an online program for people who can't make it to Orlando. But I don't know yet.
That's a good idea.
Um,
Yeah, and
Go
then you
stream
kind of
it.
get the best of both worlds. Yeah, just stream it. Yeah.
there is a thing I did last year that was completely online that was not part of the festival proper, and I did it again as kind of an experiment. Fucking loved it. I loved it so much, so I'm definitely gonna be doing it again. What I called it, you've heard of like 48-hour film festivals,
Mhm.
where it's like you get a couple prompts. You know, you get randomly assigned a genre and a prop or something like that, and then you got 48 hours to make the movie, right? I did something like that last year, I called it the Sick and Wrong 72-hour film debacle. And I made it 72 hours because I talked to a lot of people who've done a lot of 48-hour competitions, and the overwhelming constant among among those experiences that it's not fun generally. Like a lot of times they'll be happy with what they make, but it's just 48 hours is brutal, you know.
Yeah.
So I made it 72 hours, and since I was online, I did this last December. I made it open to everybody on the planet, and then we screened the movies online,
Oh, that's a
and
cool idea.
it was amazing. It was incredible, the kind of stuff. I got movies from all over the place. Australia, UK, of course, like LA and New York and whatever. I got a lot Canada, lots of places, and it was just super fun. And I'm definitely going to do that again. I'm going to do that as part of the festival this year. Like we're going to have the shoot weekend will probably be the weekend before the festival, and then we'll screen the movies sometime either during the festival or like right before the festival.
Cool. Man, that does
That's
sound
a lot of
fun. I bet being on the clock like that,
Mhm.
you probably get some hilarious results, quite honestly.
The movies that I saw, like first of all, I guess the first thing that blew my mind was how many animations I got, because I think of animation as taking so long. You know, I
Yeah,
even had
very
like
time intensive. Yeah.
one of the filmmakers in the debacle, Lauren Flinner. She is a uh she's like a mixed media artist, and but anyway, she did a full animation with lots of like physical stuff. It wasn't even like she was doing everything on her computer, right? And I sound like I'm trivializing that, but that's still fucking hard too, you know, just creating an animation to a set of parameters in such a narrow period of time. I was blown away by the animations we got.
Wow.
And then, you know, man, some people, like there was a group that had like a close to a half-hour movie they made
Wow.
in the course of those 3 days. Yeah, it was
Dang.
nutty. So I don't know. It was a blast. I was absolutely in love with it, and I'm definitely going to be doing that again.
Sweet. So, Pagan Tech, what do you have sort of going on in your life these days? And what is the latest in the saga of the video card?
Oh shit. Okay, so the video card is just more of the same.
More of the same, man.
Yeah, I've seen some rumors have hit that NVIDIA is working on releasing a series of the 30 series cards that have the hash limiter built into the card. And that is actually the card that I want. That one right here.
I know. I wrote it down in case I stumble across it online. So I can immediately get you on Discord and say, "Hey, somebody's got it. Go grab it."
Oh, it's a monster of a card. And it does Ethereum mining pretty well, so that's why it's rare. And of course, since the bots, or since the scalper bots have snapped up everything that the miners haven't, the video card landscape is really dry. So these cards are going for 2 or 3 times their street value, or excuse me, their MSRP for their street value.
MSRP, right? Yeah.
You get a $659 card for $1,700 on eBay, and it's like, it's not even gonna do that. And I do have a limitation of how much I can spend before I end up on the couch or sleeping in the bus.
I'll say probably in the bus, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a Volkswagen bus. Yeah. It's a white van, and we are near the river, so I'll be down in a van down by the river.
How's the warranty?
What's that?
How's your warranty on the van?
Oh man, I wish
warranty?
somebody would contact me about the warranty.
I'm calling you randomly tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, okay.
We are calling about your extended warranty on your 1970 van down by the river.
AMD has announced this week that they are releasing 2 new SKUs, the 6600 and the 6600 XT. They are mobile class, I guess you could say. It's I'm like, quit making more SKUs. Make more of what you got already.
Make more of what you've got already, right? Yeah. Why don't you resupply what you've already decided to manufacture here?
That's right. So, but here at the house, I've been playing Subnautica. I jumped back into that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, Subnautica, the new one. It's the one at the ice cap. I can't remember. Sub-Zero, Below Zero, Subnautica Below Zero. It is releasing like tomorrow or the day after. I've been in the alpha program for that, and it's a really nice, beautifully done game. It takes the whole lore and all of the environment that we're used to in Subnautica and just expands upon it, makes it even better.
Is this a Steam game?
It is a Steam game. It absolutely.
Cool.
But we had I had to do some streaming on Tuesday for the local government, and that was done till about 9-10 o'clock at night, and that just wore me out.
Geez.
Yeah, it is part of the job, as they say.
Yeah.
Do this, and I go, yes, sir, I'll do that.
Okay, sure. All right, we'll do that. Sure.
They said,
Jerry, anything exciting that going on that I know you're inching ever closer and closer to graduating, so that's pretty exciting.
Yes, yeah.
You're done with your technical school next week, right?
Next week on the 19th. That's Wednesday. Yeah, that's a Wednesday.
Yeah, he's got two graduations to do. Yeah, so one from his technical school and then one from the high school. So that'll be exciting. So you're kind of wrapping up your high school career here, and
finally.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Good one.
That was so rude of you. How could you do that?
You're gonna break your newly repaired mic, right? Hey,
you're gonna break the recycling can mic there.
Oh, and if assuming I get the Rodecaster Pro up and running here in the next day or two, Jerry will inherit the Stream Deck here, so he'll be able to do all kinds of fun stuff with the Stream Deck.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because when we went up there on break, he's like, so when are you hooking up that mixing board there?
That'll save me, That'll save me.
Was he drooling at the time?
Yes, he was actually. But I think that's because he wanted my Dorito, so I don't know that really had anything to do with the Stream Deck. So
could be both.
Could be both. Yeah, for sure. So, Stephen, when is this? When are you? So when does the festival actually take place? Like, okay, we're doing it this weekend. What is your time frame here?
The start date is December 10th. I decided I've been trying to move it. I did something stupid that first year. I put it in near Halloween, like toward the end of October, because I felt like there were probably a lot of weirdos visiting Orlando at the time for like Halloween Horror Nights and things like that. Yeah. The problem that I did not foresee that I should have foreseen is that when you have a festival at the end of October, immediately everybody believes it's a horror film festival. And
okay.
Sick and Wrong was never a horror film festival. It's always been a weirdo festival. You know, we have horror movies. I don't hate horror movies. It's just not a horror festival. And I'll play horror movies, certainly, just as long as they're weird. So, long story short, it's not going to get much shorter. But I decided I wanted to move to a winter month like February or December, but I didn't want to do it all at once because it would have meant either losing a year where we didn't have a festival at all, or trying to knock a fest out like 3 months after the first one, and that was never going to work.
Yeah.
So I started moving it back 3 months each year. So it was October, and then well, actually it was October, then November. Then it went back 3 months to July, and then it went back 3 months to May. At least it was supposed to go back 3 months to May, and then fucking COVID hit, so we didn't have it in May, and it screwed everything up. The festival went late. I whatever. So 2020, for all the garbage that 2020 was, and it really was. I'm not trying to trivialize any hardships anybody went through, but a couple of good things happened for the festival. One of which is that I can now have the freedom to say, okay, boom, we're in December. That's the end of it, right? December in Orlando is nice and tolerable. So to make what should have been a very short answer very, very long, it's going to start on December 10th. How many days it will be, I don't know yet. It depends. I got to figure out my venue situation first.
7.
Oh yeah.
7. I would love to. There's a festival here. Well, I don't know. There's a festival here that runs like 11 days generally when it's live, and I would love to do that, man. Just like put a little breathing room in there, because you know, one of the things I've noticed about running an extended live event is that if people have to leave the event to get food, they're not coming back. It won't happen.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So I would love to space things out. I was actually, that's one of the formats I was considering, is like, what if I do nightly screenings over the course of a week instead of trying to do a bunch of screenings over a couple of days? But then the people who travel,
they may
it's
not
more
be able
expensive to travel for a week than it is to travel for a weekend. You know, I don't know. So I'm thinking about it, but December 10th is when it's starting. So thank you.
Cool. All right. No, that's good. No, I say it sounds like to me, and obviously I haven't done anything like that before, but it sounds like a huge endeavor. Just from an organizational standpoint, getting all the movies in, scheduling it, finding, never mind renting the venue, finding a venue, and what is? Yeah. I remember seeing that on Facebook.
Oh my!
At first, I was like,
"This is our
that's
award.
An interesting little tentacle. What the heck? Oh my! I know what that is.
That's the sicky right there. That's our award. We give out last year we gave out 13 of these guys.
That's awesome.
I think we'll probably be doing 13 again this coming year. But yeah, I think this trophy is the only reason filmmakers ever submit, because they all want this.
Because they want one of those. I can't say as I blame him. That's a cool trophy.
I've seen enough movies to know where that ends.
Did you get somebody down there to like cast that for you, or is there like an trophies.com that you can get crazy trophies?
No.
I don't know.
Can you imagine describing that over the phone, going, "Yes, I'd like a trophy. Make sure it has a tentacle and panties.
They're like, click.
Make sure that no,
panties.
G-string.
Those are the two important things. Now, the first year I talked to a designer friend of mine named Brad Bailey, who wasn't here in Orlando. He was working remotely because he left, but he was a designer. I liked his art, so I told him I wanted a trophy and I wanted it to have a tentacle and I wanted it to have panties. And he sketched up a bunch of things, and then he came up with this and he gave it to me. And the first year I had it 3D printed from this company called Shapeways. And
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not a bad company, but I didn't have much money. So I had them printed in a material. At the time, it was the only one that you could get full color on, but it was a material they called sandstone. It's really just plaster of Paris. So when the trophies arrived, like, you could push on them with your thumb and move the material, and they were pretty flimsy.
Yeah.
So the next year, I put a call out here in Orlando, and I found an artist named Paul Berg. I used the same design. He cast it from the same design, but he's a physical artist. He's a sculptor, and he's been making those for us the last 4 years.
That's awesome.
Just he and his wife, they sculpt them by hand, paint them by hand. It's incredible.
No way! Yeah, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, good for, and it's good to have a local company do that too. Yeah, for sure. Because one of the things I've started doing with Signal to Noise is I try to I do ad sharing, so I'm not making any money out of any of this venture yet. I mean, I hope to at some point, obviously, but I'm not making any money off of it. In fact, I'm putting out money every month for the access to the company that pushes my show out to the internet at large, and stuff like the the Roadcaster and whatnot. But what I am doing though is I do like ad sharing. Like I was running, I created an audio spot for the Hold Up, and we run it once or twice a shift, and I've got like an ad for your podcast on my on the STN.com webpage. We just hooked up with a guy and his wife actually in Augusta. They're called Blunt Force Photography. They do, instead of doing like boudoir photos and stuff like that, they do horror photo shoots. So they'll go out to the woods and do all like the gory effects, makeup and stuff like that, and they have a little vignette where the wife loses her shit and stabs the guy, and it's all the fake blood and this stuff. And I mean, it's amazing. The stage makeup they do is just amazing, and they're both actually. She actually is a tattoo artist in Augusta, and he's a photographer. He's got his hands in a bunch of stuff, but he actually also, they're over there. He actually he does buttons. He printed up about 25 buttons for the radio station.
Those are cool.
Yeah. So so we changed. He's been advertising us. I did a spot for him, and I run it once or twice an hour. So we do like it. I've been doing like an ad exchange because at the end of the day, you're small creators, like myself or like Pagan Tech or Green Bear or yourself, the name of the game is getting your name and your brand, if you will, out there for people to see and go, oh, damn, I love weird films. I want to, I want to check Steven out, or, whatever. Oh, I love the Kerbal Space Program. I'm going to follow Pagan Tech and watch every single Twitch stream that he does.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I'm two watchers now.
Yeah, I've just doubled my viewership. Woo! But I mean, that's the name of the game, is getting your name out there, really.
Yeah, I think it might sound, if somebody who doesn't like, somebody, I don't know, there's this and honestly, I think it was probably us who got this whole thing started with, like, when we started with our Napster sharing and Kazaa and LimeWire and all that shit. But these days, there are a lot of people who kind of think that art, or like the things that people do, like streaming included, very much should just belong to them for free, right? And they might be listening thinking, oh, these guys just want to get rich or something like that. Because no, I've never broken even running Sick and Wrong. It isn't
I mean, I do want to get rich.
We want to be rich. True. But what would, for me, and I'm sure this is the same thing for you, Tom, it's not that I want to get rich running the festival. It's that I would really like for that to be the thing that I do with my life, not to have to spend 40 hours a week doing this other thing for somebody else. We all have things we want to work on that belong to us, and we want those to be our lives. That's what the money's about. It's not about rolling up in a couple of limos and Countachs, if those are still things that anybody gives a shit about. But
in the meantime, we still got to put in our time at the salt mines and keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's true, and that's part of the impetus behind us starting Wind Up Creations as well. Because this show sort of grew out of that. It's like, well, we're all under this umbrella. It's like, well, wait a minute, why don't we do just like a podcast, a chat cast, whatever you want to call it? That way we can, first of all, we've known each other forever. We can hang out and BS and have a good time. But we can also get the word out, about about the Twitch streams, or about the radio station, or whatever the case is, So yeah, I mean, that's and you're right. Yeah, I would because I was in radio for like 10 years back in the day, and I mean, it didn't pay great then, and I'm sure it doesn't pay much better now. But I would love to do this, for a living. I mean, it would be great, just simply because I love to do it, and if I didn't love music so much and love playing music and and the tech too, of course, Pagan Tech can tell you the technology and playing with all the gadgets and tweaking and setting up and resetting. That's for me. At least that's part of the fun,
Yeah,
part of the fun.
absolutely.
All this. Now it can be frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I mean, because stupid Discord, like tonight when we all logged in here, like you couldn't hear me. Pagan Tech, his camera wasn't working. Oh, let me reboot. Let me do this. It's always something, but I think that has more to do really with Windows than anything else. But that's just me.
Yeah, I would so much rather deal with things like that than deal with like, a couple of my employees didn't finish their timesheets on time this week, and now I have to get payroll to unlock their timesheets. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, and plus too, I kind of do. I do support, technical support for a living, and kind of sometimes when I get home from work, the last thing I want to do is, the printer's not working. It's like, oh, God damn it! All right,
we're not printing tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I've been doing this all day. Do I really want to do it when I get home? But if I do this just as a general rule, and then I can fix my problems and not other people's problems, and that's fine,
Yeah.
Sure.
I remember actually. Oh, sorry. Interrupt.
Yeah.
Whose turn is it? Who's got the stick?
I was agreeing.
No, that's you. Go ahead.
That's right. Yeah, I remember way
got the
back.
punch?
Seeing the two of you here, it's really taken me back. I'm thinking about when I was working at GlobalNet. I was so happy because I had been doing, yeah, man. Oh, I guess I shouldn't even start that story. But like, I was so happy. I had been just coding, HTML and CS and JavaScript and stuff for myself on my own websites, and I thought, oh wow, I'm gonna get a job where I get to write HTML for a living, and then I get there and it's all these like little businesses who just want static pamphlets on their websites, and there's nothing interesting about it at all, and they just want
He's got a
can you
NASCAR
change the
truck.
color of the back? Yeah, fuck.
You remember
It
that
just
guy?
made the whole idea. It's all such a blur. I've been drinking to forget so much from GlobalNet days.
It's funny. I can't find information on the net about GlobalNet.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
No.
I actually
Not on the Wayback
not even
or
like in
anything?
the internet Wayback. I say the Wayback machine doesn't have anything
Well,
on them.
there's some pages that are there that the images are missing, and they're just generic pages. But as far as like company announcements or anything, I think that the owner,
The big
guy,
implosion.
nothing. The guy who ended up stealing all
Fowler.
that $15 million, he got he came into Florida and got busted for something else, and then he ended up in like Tennessee, something, and the entire community ended up hating him. It was hilarious.
Oh my God. No, that guy's just a black hole of misery.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't think
Fuck.
I ever met the guy. I mean, I worked there.
He
for
was
however
so
long. I don't know
he
that.
was so shady.
Or if I did, I don't remember. Like I
Yeah.
said, I've slept since then, so I really
total used car salesman, just vibe.
Oh yeah.
and maybe this was the guy, but I remember having like a company meeting. We were all standing around, and he announced that, because remember back in the day, that would have been Windows 95 era, 98 era.
Yeah.
It came with, when you would install Windows, it had an internet folder, and you'd open the internet folder, and it had a bunch of pre-configured ISPs, like AT&T or whatever.
Prodigy or whatever.
Prodigy, yeah. He said GlobalNet is going to be, one of those pre-configured ISPs that comes with Windows, and we were all just like, what? Oh, no way.
Yeah.
And not so much.
Yeah.
Not
Also,
so
the U.S. Robotics was going to have us on their disc that they released with their modems. Remember that?
Right.
It's like, man, that is so cool. It's a piece of shit. Whatever.
Did that company ever serve internet to anybody outside the CSRA? Even like,
well, as I recall, there was a node down in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in Daytona, and the only reason I remember this is because we used to give Mike a hard time when we wanted to really, piss him off immediately. We'd roll down and stick our head around the corner and say, "Hey, Mike, is Daytona down?" "No, God damn it, Daytona isn't down." He'd start throwing stuff. Every time. That was quite amusing, actually. Back
I
then.
think
But
there
yeah,
was
so
a
there was
point of
Daytona.
presence. I think there was a pop in France, I think, where he came from. I think he had actually installed a pop, but I don't think they actually served anything. But I remember them talking about the hardware was in place because they had to have something on another continent in order to be considered international.
Oh, okay. So he
Well,
did the
global
absolute
right there
minimum
in
in
the
order to
name.
accomplish that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Global Net International technically was international. Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one of my favorite all-time support stories when I worked there. So this dude called in. He's like, I call in, I can hear it screeching, and he said it never connects. We're like, okay. So, and he called in to me. So I went through like everything I knew to do. And, he would call up because he had two lines in his house somehow. So he would, that's sort of the punchline, actually. So he would call, you would hear it handshake, and we could watch on the screen to watch to see if and it would never show up. It would never. We're like, oh, that's weird. So we tried this, unplug, replug, reset, reinstall, everything. So then I got my supervisor in on it, and we went into like a conference room. This went on for like a couple of days. Went into a conference room, and we did all this and that and the other thing, and so finally we were just sitting there like face palm. We were like, what in the hell's going on here, right? So finally, I don't remember which one it was. Like, okay, so trace your phone line from the back of your computer and just tell us where it goes. He's like, okay, well, you say, okay, and this goes into my fax machine, and then it goes from my fax machine into the wall. Yeah, that look on Phil's face, it explains it, because I was like, hang on. So you've been dialing into your fucking fax this whole time? The guy was like, oh, I didn't really think of that. Unplugged it from the fax, plugged it into the wall, and I'll be damned, it worked.
Magic.
Like, you have got to be kidding me. I mean, this went on for like over 2 days for hours and hours. We were troubleshooting this guy.
That is beautiful.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I should have probably seen the writing on the wall and gotten the hell out of support at that point, but I'm not that smart, so here I am.
Wasn't there one of the guys in support who he was delivering pizzas at night and got shot in Hepzibah trying to deliver a pizza? Remember that guy?
Yeah.
He didn't get killed, so that's good.
No.
But
Yeah,
He was just wounded.
Yeah,
and
out over a pizza. That's
it's
interesting.
a flesh wound.
yeah,
well, generally speaking, pizza guys carry money on it, but it's usually not a lot of money. But people don't carry. It's like, oh, look, 2 pizzas and $20. Woohoo! Give me that, But there was so I started out my support career at a little dial-up internet service provider, and then there was this company called Internet in a Mall. They literally sold internet service out of a kiosk in the middle of the mall, and I worked there for a while. It was me and 2 other guys, and that was a great. Because you're in a mall, you can go get coffee whenever you wanted to, food, people walking by. It was great. Well. And again, portents of the future. The company was owned by a dude out in California, and the owner, apparently embezzled / sniffed all of the company profits up his nose, and the company shut down.
Oh,
So the 3 of us then ended up at GlobalNet, which of course then eventually also shut down. So we were like the 3 horsemen of the apocalypse of the tech world there for a while.
It was your fault. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's our
Tom.
fault. Yeah, that was our fault. Yeah.
Yeah. See, mine's similar. I was at a mom and pop store. It was My Way Computers in North Augusta. Little Dan Sanders and his son. Yeah. And I was a technician. I had got out in the Navy, but they had screwed up my MOS. And since there is no battleship MOS, they just said, oh, he doesn't have an MOS. I'm like, bitch, I'm trained as fuck. You give me a damn job. So I got a hint that they were looking for a fax machine tech. So I went up there and I talked to the guy and I told him, I said, here's my history. I can rebuild just about anything. He's like, you give me a manual, I can fix it. And he's like, well, we got all these parts in for this fax machine and our fax guy left. If you could put it back together, you got the job. And I'm like, done. I could do that shit. Got the job and I was there. His daughter was running the money and didn't file any income taxes for anybody or the company the entire time. And so one day the boss is in Atlanta and it's just me standing there, holding down the fort. And this little lady comes in and she's got these big 2 bruisers with her. She says, "Yeah, I'm from the IRS and I need to speak to Dan Sanders." And I'm like, "He's not here. He'll be back later." So she sits down. She's like, "I'm going to stay here until he gets in." He got in. They went in behind the door. And about 20 minutes later, he came out. And they put a padlock on the front door. And we never went back.
Dang.
And I went across the river and went over to Internet CSRA.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks after that, because it was me and Mike and who was the server guy? Was that your dad?
That might have been Bob.
Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, Bob. It was us 3, and then as who was that? What was their names? The Weinsteins?
Yeah.
They sold the business to GlobalNet.
The Fowler.
Yeah. And that's when we started hiring everybody and then moved to the Lamar building on the 6th and 7th floor or some shit like that.
Oh, we're so proud of that.
Yeah. It's like, man, we're doing good. We're in the Lamar building, the big penis toaster downtown, right?
And then that one morning we all got into work and they wouldn't even let us up onto the 6th floor.
Yeah, security guards are like, "Nope, you're not going in." And everybody started walking down to the unemployment office in a big mass.
Oh, yeah. And then you get to the unemployment office. They're like, "Yeah, they never paid any unemployment insurance."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, I can't get unemployment either.
About I guess the statute of limitations has expired on this. So like a week or 2 later, Mike was like, "Hey, I can get us into the Lamar building." I was like, "Okay." So he's like, "Well, do you have anything personal on your desk up there?" It's like, maybe. He's like, "Well, yeah, there's a monitor up there. Is it there?" I went, "Why, yes, there is." So, we both got new monitors that day. New monitors.
Nice. Yeah. I'm glad you guys got something.
You got your property back, right?
Paycheck, but, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I heard that the Fowler was caught at the was that 13th Street building, the Broad and 13th Street building, like watering the servers. Hit a hose in there. He was like hosing down the servers for the insurance money.
Jesus. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. The guy was such a
I remember hearing something. I might have heard it from you, actually, but I do remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, it's just
we got a cat.
Shocking.
We got a cat from that. That's what we got. Because like me and my mom were over in that 13th Street building, and like there was this like 25-pound alley cat that used to just hang out all the time, and we took him home to Hepzibah, and
wow,
he just stayed with us the rest of his life. That's what we got out of it.
Nice.
You guys, I don't know. One day I came home, like we never, we never fed our cats or gave them litter boxes when we lived in Hepzibah, because they would just go outside and eat skinks and shit and bury their poop in the woods and stuff, because we lived in the fucking woods. It's Hepzibah. Yeah. But one day I came home because I had forgotten something, and I pulled up in the driveway and I go on the back porch, and the cat, called him Bite, he's sitting there, and it's like something out of a cartoon. I swear to you. He had a squirrel tail hanging out of his mouth. Jesus Christ. What is wrong with you? So I ran in the house and I grabbed the thing that I was there for, and I walked back out to get my car, and even the squirrel tail's gone. That cat ate a squirrel, nose to tail.
Wow.
The guy, wow, yeah.
Brutal.
Nice.
Absolutely brutal.
Damn. Oh, that's awesome. So is there anything going on in pop culture that is grabbing everybody? I will say that Patty and I have been watching The Nevers on HBO Max. Really good. I mean, if you dig period pieces and you like superhero stuff, it's going to be right up your alley, because it's pretty well done.
We caught the new episode here. The new episode of Nancy Drew that dropped on Wednesday. We actually kind of like the Nancy Drew series. It's kind of cool.
Drew?
Yeah, Nancy Drew.
On what platform?
Is that WB? CW.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
It's
Okay.
actually kind of good. It's not campy. It's not. It's got a supernatural element to it, ghosts and
All right.
Widgeums and things like that. So it's kind of cool. This week they brought in Tom Swift from the Tom Swift books.
Oh,
Yeah, he's,
that's funny because when I was a kid, so for a few years there when I was a kid, we didn't actually own a TV. So we read, my sister and I, all the time. I guess my
Hey, we didn't
mom
either.
probably did too, but we read all the time.
Nerds.
So we rented, we borrowed from the library. Like I read my way all the way through like the Hardy Boys books. We read all the way through the Bobbsey Twins books, and my grandfather had, and I wish I still had him. I don't know whatever happened to him, like original print little hardback Tom Swift books.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was like a kid inventor, and he invented all this crazy,
Yep.
you know, all this crazy stuff.
Gun? There's a is it taser that uses the fuck, is it the word taser that comes from a reference to Tom Swift?
It may well be because they. I mean, I'd have to look it up. I don't know, but it's entirely possible. I would say, yeah, he had like this like a vehicle that would float on the water, and it could also be a submarine, and it could also be like a hovercraft and all this stuff. I mean, I just remember as a kid. I mean, that may have sparked my interest in sci-fi, to be perfectly honest, because I loved those books when I was a kid. Say, I wish I still had them too, because they're, you know, I wouldn't have sold them, but they're probably worth a ton of money because they were like from when my grandfather was younger. So I mean, you know, they'd been around for a while. So.
Well, they're supposed to be spinning off Tom Swift into his own series.
Oh, very
so
cool.
That's going to
Okay.
be kind of cool. So it's going to be Nancy Drew's going to be the supernatural and investigatory, and then Tom Swift is going to be the science and invention kind of thing.
Very cool. Steven, what are you guys watching, or are you just wrapped up in the festival?
No, I haven't started watching the submissions yet. They are piling up. I don't know why I haven't started watching them yet, but we've been watching so I don't know. I'm still kind of stuck in that comfort mode that I developed over the course of the pandemic, where I just want to rewatch things that make me feel good, you know. So we started.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We're in the middle of actually we're now we're watching Futurama again. I'm a huge Futurama.
Oh
love
man, that's such a
Futurama.
great show, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But,
love Futurama.
So smart. Very smart.
Really?
show.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
There's a damn.
watch-
Damn. There's a great.
We like the. I hate to say this because, you know, when it comes to movies, I'm always looking for the most depraved stuff I can get my hands on. But like when it comes to TV, I really like what they're calling nice shows. You know, like where there's never any like we've been watching Bob's Burgers, of course, and the people who
Hell
make
yeah.
Bob's Burgers, they started a show called The Great North, and that's kind of fun. Oops, I just banged my little table here. So we've been watching that. We keep meaning to get back to Schitt's Creek. We watched the first season of Schitt's Creek. That was a lot of
Oh,
fun.
dude, I've watched. I don't want to say I discovered it, but I stumbled across Schitt's Creek because it's funny. My aunt and uncle, who I would never expect them to really latch on to a show like Schitt's Creek, like a couple of years ago, they were like, "You've got to see this show. It's just funny. Your uncle laughed so hard that he gave himself a heart attack." I mean, they love it. So I'm like,
Fuck.
okay, I'll put it on my list. You know. I mean,
That's
he
an
did,
endorsement.
but you know what I mean.
I know, right?
So yeah, no kidding. But so I put it on my list on Netflix, and then it just kind of sat there by itself for probably 2 years, and like 4 or 5 months ago, before I started doing all this, so yeah, a little bit longer than that probably, I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. And the first couple episodes, I was like, but then after like the third, maybe the fourth episode, I really, really loved it, and. It was one of those deals where I was working from home. I only had to commute from upstairs to downstairs, so I could sleep until like 5 minutes before I needed to log in. I would be up till 1 or 2 in the morning watching this damn show. And as soon as I finished, it was I think five seasons. I think as soon as I finished it, I watched the whole thing a second time, just back to back. It's such a funny show. That show is awesome. I really love Schitt's Creek, and that I call that kind of stuff. Comfort food, comfort TV.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
I'm the same way with like that 70s show and Friends. As far as sitcoms go, I love both of those shows. I've seen both of those shows like a million times.
I don't really
And
see you watch anything but like Friends and whatnot. It's
yeah. I mean, I love both of those shows like to death. But they both for me have a good rewatch value. But Schitt's Creek does too now. I mean, I'm going to add that to that list because that's. But yeah, it's people like to because you already know how they're going to come out. So you're sort of comforted by that, and it's not you don't have to think a whole lot because you've already seen them before and stuff like that.
We got Britcoms that are like that,
Britcoms, yeah.
Oh yeah, all the good Britcoms that we got.
Are You
Keeping
Being
Up
Served is a
Appearances
good
and,
one. Yeah,
Are You Being
Keeping Up
Served?
Appearances
Father Ted.
cracks us up.
Love Father Ted.
Father Ted, yeah. And
Things like that.
what was the one? Oh, Faulty Towers with John
Red
Cleese.
Dwarf.
oh
Red
god, yeah.
Oh, Red Dwarf is good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are you guys IT Crowd fans?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's such a funny show.
Okay, I'll tell you. At 3 separate points, I have watched the first episode of the IT Crowd to try to get into the show. Not like in a row. It's like I watch it, and then I come back to it 6 months later, and I say, all right, I'll give it another try.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the first episode or what, but I can't take it.
So, to be honest, I've seen like the first 10 episodes or 12 episodes, and if Christy's not playing it on the TV, I'm not going to go hunt it down and watch it. I don't think I finished the season or series. It's just okay. It's interesting. I like the one of the character Matt Berry, I think is the name.
That actor, he's amazing. I love everything he does.
Yeah, it's so funny. He talks so strangely.
That dude. Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch? It's sort of a tangent. I'm sorry. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yes.
No,
Adult
I don't
Swim.
know where you can find it, but if you could find this, it's amazing. Yeah, it's
See if I can
called
get it for you, Tom.
Garth Marenghi's not a real person. It's called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and it's a faux documentary series about a TV show that happened in the past in the universe of the show already. It doesn't matter. It's not about. You'll recognize a bunch of the people in it. It's fucking hilarious, and it's about a hospital, like a haunted hospital.
Yeah.
I can't even say. Just watch it. Find it somewhere.
And what's it called again?
It's called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. So if you just Dark Place, one word. If you're looking for Google terms, Dark Place is one word. That's what you're going to look for.
She's also in a
it's
series
incredible.
called What We Do in the Dark. I think it's
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows. Is that the
So
one
good.
with where the vampires all living in the same house?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
The Office meets vampires.
Oh, dude,
What the fuck?
that is funny. Well, I know. Is there, as I understand it, they've done because I've seen like the movie. I don't know. There's
Yeah,
a
it was a
series
series.
though too, right?
There was-
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the series. I've only seen the movie.
The
Hilarious
movie's
series.
funny, and the series is also funny.
It
The
is,
series,
okay.
Yeah, the series, like I know I'm leery about the transition from movie to series, but I loved the movie, and we fucking died watching the series.
Okay.
Because it's like different vampires in a different place. They're here in the U.S., unlike in the movie when they're were the ones? No, they're in New Zealand in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Berry is one of the vampires, like you said. It's so funny, man.
Let me take you into
I'll
my
have to-
garden of my favorite vaginas.
Yes. That one is my mother.
Yeah, this is my mother. How dare you come in and pee on my mother's vagina?
It's incredible, man. It's so funny. Especially, like, to me, I loved all the in-jokes. Do you remember there's an episode where they go in front of I won't get all the details, but there's an episode where they go in front of the vampire council. Is a side splitter. Like, if you are a guy, because I know you were probably a big Lost Boys fan, right? Like, if you've been following, if you like vampire movies, you have to watch this show, because that one episode is such a huge, like, it's pure fan service, but it's fucking
that one
hilarious.
had so many names in it. The actors that were in there.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck? Why is she in this?
Yeah. Why is it? Yes. It's so good. Oh man. Yeah. No, I'm big.
What do you
huge
know?
fan.
Do you know what platform that's streaming on? I'll have
It was
to
on
watch it now, I
Hulu.
guess.
It was a Hulu
Was
show.
it Hulu?
Oh, see, that's the one I don't get.
And I think we get it on Netflix. Because we don't have Hulu, but she watches it often.
Okay.
Oh, no, she's got it recorded from Comcast, and she's stepped away. Okay.
All right, I'll look it up. I mean,
What,
I'm sure I'll be able
DVRs
to, I'm
still?
sure I'll be able to snag it somewhere. Yeah.
Thing?
Is
Still
what?
DVRs and stuff?
Yeah.
DVRs?
we got DVR.
Is that? I didn't.
I don't actually. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. I don't know. I never, if I have a DVR, I don't use it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't watch much. I don't watch as much TV as I used to, and I don't watch as much TV as I'd like to. So
It's funny when you start making things, when you start doing things, you start taking on projects. It's like you lose free time.
you do.
It's
you
crazy.
really do.
Like-
Yeah, because before the default was, oh, you know, I'll do this and that. And Phil, what did you just drink? Oh, plain
Was that
water.
a Mio? Or is that what those are? Mio?
Yeah.
Oh, Kool-Aid. Never mind.
Oh, gee, nice. You know, because the default. Oh, dude. The default was to sit down and watch something on TV. So, like during the pandemic, up until I started the radio station, I got a lot of TV watching done. Stuff that I'd like put on the like Schitt's Creek that I'd put on the back burner. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'll give it a try. And I discovered a lot of great. We discovered The Expanse that way too. It's just like, well, you know, I'll give this a try. And I'm like, and I immediately fell in love with The Expanse. And then like 2 seasons in, Patty's like, oh, what's this? You know, oh, look, it's what's the one character's name?
Holden?
Not
No,
Holden,
Amos.
but Amos. Yeah, she's like,
likes
oh,
Amos.
who's that? And she sits down and, you know, she's immediately hooked. And we watched through that too, because she missed the first 2 seasons. So, but yeah, and then I start doing this, and then suddenly I'm like, oh, wait, I don't have time to watch TV.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing too. It's something that, and it's not just Green. I mean, video gamers in general do this. Like, oh, have you played this? Have you played that? Have you played? I'm like, no, I don't have the time. You know, because as much as I love video games, they're a huge time sink. You know.
Christy
And I
says that it is on FX. What we do in the
FX.
dark
Okay,
is on
so
FX.
we can
okay.
probably get FX on demand. So cool. Okay.
What we do in the
Yeah,
shadows.
when
Fine.
like-
She's corrected me.
Yeah. When it's festival time, and I'm pouring through submissions, my friends are always like saying, "Oh, did you see this? Or did you see this new movie or this show or something?" And I'm like, "No, I've been watching hours and hours. I've watched hundreds of hours of festival submissions.
Yeah.
And I can't even
That's
talk
That'd be
about
kind
it."
of fun though. Well,
Yeah, no, it's
I
a
can see
blast.
that being fun, but I can also see it being like just mind melting too. It's just like oh, God, another
I
one.
will tell you that the submissions run the complete gamut of quality.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick on one dude. I don't know his name. I don't remember. But like a couple years ago, he submitted a movie, and you know the fees closer to the festival, the fees for submitting go up. And this guy spent. I looked at based on when he submitted. He spent $25 to submit a movie that was. This is not an exaggeration. It was 25 seconds of cell phone footage of him sitting in a chair in front of a TV, kind of doing this. And then a title card came up that said, "Forced to watch the Kardashians for 12 hours." And like that was his entire movie. And he spent $25 to submit that to my festival. And I just don't know what people do with their fucking money, man. I don't know why.
Well, I mean,
continue
more,
giving it
more
to
money
you.
to
That's
you,
fine.
I guess. But
It's more, yeah. It's for thanks for donating.
Yeah.
You know, it took me 25 seconds to
Thanks.
reject your movie.
Thanks for donating, I guess. Yeah.
I wish I made $25 every 20, or I wish I made $25 every 25 seconds I was at work. That'd be cool.
You need to start charging a fine. Like, look, I had to sit through your shitty movie. You owe me $25.
Yeah, really.
Well, you know what you should do is you got a 7-day. If you're planning out the 7-day festival that you want to do, have one night dedicated. Here is the shittiest things that were submitted.
You do the
These are the
night,
rejects
yeah.
pile.
I do that sometimes. Like with my judges, after the festival's over, I'll bring some of my because my judges, I do things differently. I don't have to get into it, but my judges don't see all the submissions; they only see the ones that get nominated that I've already picked. So sometimes I bring them over and I show them some of my rejectees, and they haven't forgiven me for some of them.
It sounds. It's. I can see that quickly evolving or devolving, I guess, depending on how you look at it, into like an MST3K session. On some of these movies. Yeah, I've got a good friend. I think he's out in Arizona now, but at the time he was the radio play-by-play guy for the Augusta hockey team.
Okay.
And he would come over because
I went to one of their
this
games.
was. I worked for them for like 7 years.
Yeah.
But he would come over. I think Headbangers Ball was like Saturday nights or whatever night it was, and he would come over and hang out, and we would watch Headbangers Ball. And this is not like the classic Headbangers Ball. This was like all this new metal and the Cookie Monster vocals and stuff like that, which I'm just not a fan of. Yeah, not a fan. I think I've injured myself, but anyway, he would come over and we'd watch that, and it would quickly devolve into MST3K on some of these, music videos, because it's like, oh yeah, okay, it's got a good groove. Okay, yeah, this sounds good. Oh well, never mind, it sucks.
Oh no, you were Beavis and Buttheading them.
Yeah, basically, yes. That's exactly right. Yes. We have some of that dude. I'm trying. His name's Tom as well. I've been trying to get Tom to be a DJ on the station here, but he's a busy guy because he's got he does a Twitch stream. Actually, he does a regular hockey show on Twitch, and I think he does a podcast.'s got his fingers in a lot of different things. So,
giggity.
Oh my!
Yeah, he's a little well. He's probably doesn't have a whole lot of time to do something for me and not get paid for it. So
yeah.
Just do something, volunteer his time to make me sound better. But well, cool. Well, you know what? It's 20 minutes till 10. Yeah, I think we all have work/school tomorrow. I know I do. So I think we could probably wrap it up unless anybody has a last thought or two. We'll go round table. We'll do plugs again, and then we will call it a night. So, Jerry Formal, I know you probably don't have any plugs, but as always, thank you for hanging out and contributing and just basically doing your thing there. I appreciate it. Pagan Tech.
Yes, you could find me at twitch.tv/Pagantech, PAGANTEK.
And if you subscribe, you can get updates, and they'll know when you're getting on and doing your thing, as it were.
You could do a follow, and that'll get you the info, and then a subscribe if that function works.
Perfect. Excellent. Steven, plug away.
Say real fast that I probably read somewhere between 4 and 8 of William Shatner's tech novels, and I don't recommend the experience to anyone. So,
I think I got one under my belt, and I think I was like, okay.
Yeah, we're good. No, please find everything that's important to me right now is on sickandwrongfilm.com. sickandwrongfilm.com. That's the festival where the submissions are open. That is also where the Kickstarter is going to be come June 1st. Why is it that men get to rent their tuxes for their weddings, but women have to buy their dresses?
That is a good question, actually. You would think you could probably do a good business out of just renting
dresses, right?
Wedding dresses.
I would
wear a tux more than I think a bride would wear a wedding dress, but we rent the tux.
True.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, you would think it would be the other way around.
The answer is patriarchy. So,
Whoa.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Sort of slid that in right at the end there. Very nice. So is your is the podcast on hold for now then?
Oh yeah, no, the podcast. Okay, so the computer's working again. The podcast should be back in June.
Oh great. Okay.
Because I actually have some of the filmmakers behind this Fat Fleshy Fingers project lined up. We're doing tie-in episodes because I really want to.
Oh, very cool.
Milk all my promotional possibilities here. So
for sure.
I think we're doing the first one coming back will be we're doing both the Conan movies, the Schwarzenegger Conans.
Oh, I love those movies though.
Yeah.
I really do.
Man. Fun
And
stuff.
the soundtrack, at least to the first one, the soundtrack is amazing.
Well, the
Basil
soundtrack for the second
Polidorus.
one is frighteningly similar to the soundtrack to the first one. but yeah.
Yeah, probably. All right, and then like I said, next time you want me on for the podcast,
Yeah.
I'm all about it. So just ring me up.
We'll do that
Cool.
again.
And as far as for me, you can find us on stnradio.com. I broadcast on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sometimes I'll surprise it on Tuesdays just because it's fun. Let me see. Friday, I do the Friday Free for All. It's from 6 until 9. And then my buddy Rob, a.k.a. the Reverend Robert Evil, takes over, and he plays Gotham Industrial from 9 until usually midnight or 1 a.m. Saturday, it's dance music from 7 p.m. until 12 or 1 in the morning. Rob and I sort of double team that. And then Sundays, my lovely wife, Patty Kay, does brunch with the Beatles from a She does brunch with the Beatles from 11 to 1 on Sundays. Jerry and I do The Forge from 6 to 8. And then from 8 till usually, 9:30 or 10, we run the show. So that's basically the schedule. Oh, I forgot the new show Wednesday at 10 o'clock is the John Peel Model is what the name of that show is. And it goes from 10 until went till midnight last night. So, I think he's going to do a roughly 2-hour show. And I will probably rebroadcast like this and maybe his show over the weekend just to, fill some gaps. But anyway, Stephen, thank you for coming and hanging out and filling the this corner of my screen here. Because I say Green Bear is on a field trip. He went with the school on a field trip. He is on a road trip. So I say you're basically the first person I thought of to come on board. If we have to fill again, I think either you or Chris Bailey has actually even said, "Hey, I'd kind of like to hop on." I'm like, "All right, cool, that'd be fun." That'd be probably 2 hours or more of just chaos and madness because he and I have about 1 million stories, most of which
And
we
this
remember.
wasn't?
yeah, it's true.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, except maybe that trip down GlobalNet lane. But
Oh,
Well,
it's
you know
fun
what? It's
because
funny
we're not
because-
there.
Yeah, well, and it's that subject has come up before because, of course, both
Yeah.
Phil and I worked there, so the
Right,
subject has come up before. But yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming and hanging out, and best of luck with the festival. I'll definitely keep my eyes open. I can't say I'm going to jet down to Florida for it, but
yeah. Can't wait. Well, thank
But
you
yeah,
very
thanks
much.
again. I appreciate it. And hey, I'll ring you up if we need to fill a spot again. I'll give you a holler, and if you can make it, awesome. Cool. All right. Well, I will do my wrap up, and then Pagan Tech can do his. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for hanging out for this hour and a half or so. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have enjoyed bringing it to you. And this will air on Sunday. So then I will see you guys next week. Take it away.
Thanks
Phil.
Thanks for sticking around for the round table of fools. These idiots and nincompoops have wasted enough of your time, and we're headed off to the sunset for tonight. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.